Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. It's time for the best damn comic book podcast in all the interwebs. We got the Comics Aficionados. We got a great panel for you today. Looks like we got plenty of people in the comments so far. Have some fun stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about the controversy regarding art fixing and J. Scott Campbell. We're going to talk about the potential DC Comics Crisis event in 2022 that's looming. Lots of Marvel news has come out. We got some good stuff to talk about. We got some comic books we're going to review. Well, maybe not review. We're going to talk about some of the big revelations that we got this week. We got a new first-time member of the panel this week. We got RJ from Critical Blast. How you doing, RJ?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, I'm glad you can make it. We've talked a few times. The schedule's never worked out, so I'm glad you were able to make it this week.
Well, I'll tell you real briefly. I discovered you by accident, and for like the first 10 seconds that I found you, I was pissed. and then it evolved into, okay. No, because when I first found you, it was because one of my guys, one of my LCS guide stars, came on your show to break big news. I'm like, what the hell, man? You've got a show to tell this stuff on. But you have bigger audience, and he had bigger news. That was Michael Tierney when he announced that he was closing down 2 brick and mortar stores during COVID.
Oh yeah. He's Tim Lemon, Mark Pellegrini's LCS guy from when they were kids.
That's right.
We kind of set up something a few weeks before that. So love
to
have Michael on
LCS guy for several years.
Yeah, definitely got to get him back on. Whoa, we got a super chat from Lane Craver. Thank you so much. Perch, allow the powerful powerful joins the morning for us. How you doing, Perch?
Okay, read it right, sir. Perch the allow powerful joins us the morning. WO1.
What the?
I like Wayne Craver. I don't know what he's saying exactly here, but thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for the money. We appreciate that.
I think he meant Perch the all powerful.
Yes. There we go.
The all powerful.
Oh, there we go.
That's
spell check gets you every time.
Yep. So how you doing, Perch? We were just talking about comics. You know what? Like
it was good for you. Yeah, it was for you. It's been the same day, 2 live streams in one day. It's crazy, but I just thanks Wes for joining me last night. It was a lot of fun, and so return the favor here, and it's been busy for me on the weekend. So I'm glad I finally get a chance to come back.
Yes, the people have missed you. Every time it's where's Perch? I'm like, listen, the man's got business to take care of. He'll join us when he's got the time.
There's some
so
business,
he's finally back. Also, Fatal J has not been on the channel in a while. Glad to have him back. He's also been busy. Finally the schedule cleared out. You're able to make it. How's the Snyder Cut going?
First off, sir, my name is not Fatal J. Actually, my name is Gervain, and I used to work for Milestone and different companies like that. And yeah, man, I'm just chilling. And y'all have another black guy on here named Fatal J, and I just want to say that dude is awesome. Please put him on the show more. And thank you so much for having me.
Oh, that Fatal J guy is a complete dick.
Yeah, the Fatal Demon himself. Welcome back to the channel. We've also got the curmudgeon at Critical. We've got Pele. How you doing, buddy? How's the retail business going?
Yeah, sales are up. It's all right. Yeah,
sales are up.
Yes, I'm going to complain about making more money.
Yeah, but it's so crazy. The whole fucking back issue market is just insane right now. So it's kind of hard to deal with. But
last but not least, we do have the co-host of the Comics Aficionados, the man who's been here since day one. Doc, how you doing?
Oh, I'm definitely least, but nah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me on, and let's do this.
All right, let's do this thing. The first thing we got to talk about is this J. Scott Campbell art fixing. So we'll throw this one over to you, RJ, first. J. Scott Campbell, he went out there. Somebody fixed his art. He decided to go back and fix their art and give them essentially a masterclass, a professional level critique of their art skills. I thought, he was tongue-in-cheek. It maybe wasn't the nicest thing in the world, but I think he made a point, and I think he was well within his rights to do so.
Yeah, that's a clapback that's been a long time in coming, and I think a lot of people applauded when that happened. Unfortunately, it's after all that applause, it's almost like JSC came back and he Zack Snyder'd his supporters on Twitter. because he had to come out with this huge statement. It's like, hey, these guys and those guys and these other guys that all are supporting me. Yeah, some of them do things that I don't support, which is a completely inane statement that nobody ever has to make. You just say, yeah, some people like what I do and we don't like some of the things that they do. That's life. But he just totally undermined himself by throwing the entire groups under the bus with that.
So we do have a super chat from Lane Kramer. Thank you so much. I put Pele into through the Universal Translator. He said, actually, I love Heroes Reborn. Please more events, Marvel. Bring on Gala X-Men. There you go. Thank you, Pele. Now that we know what you really meant. Thank you so much, Lane Kramer.
What? Oh, God, my ass itches now.
Oh, we've also got friend of the channel. We've got SSJ Future Gohan. Glad to see super chats are back. Also, a nice clap back from Jay Scott, just dropping a few bucks in the tip jar. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the support. And we got to bring it back on. We're still supposed to talk about Damian Wayne and Dick Grayson's.
Oh yeah, I like
Batman
him.
and Robin. Yeah.
But hey, this is my question. Okay, somebody fixed it to be funny. Jay Scott fixed them.
No, they weren't trying to be funny.
They
were saying that his art was problematic. The Mary Jane was.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They were trying to give it the average woman look and all that type of stuff. But then Jay Scott tried to fix their fits, and everybody got mad for him fixing their fits.
Well,
punching. They say he's punching down, and honestly, it is. It's punching down because that's what you do with scum that's down the ground. You have to punch down.
I step on ants all the time.
Yeah, you got to be able to step on the scum. That's what,
sometimes you just don't answer to peasants. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be rude, but that's just how the game go. People going to critique.
It's not a peasant thing. They're scumbags thing.
But look, that cover is actually iconic. That's actually.
Oh God, yeah.
When I look at the Spider-Man covers, that's actually in the top tier covers of all time in my book. And I just think he shouldn't have said anything to that person.
Here's the thing. This has been an every 3 to 6 month thing of some weirdo that gets a bug up their ass about fixing J. Scott Campbell's art or calling it terrible or calling it sexist or making some absurd allegation. It's been an every 3 to 6 month thing for the last about 4 years. But this time somebody actually, and I think in the past he stood up for himself, but he hasn't really done anything. But this is the first time I recall somebody actually changing his art. And now you're dealing with him in his realm. He's an artist. He's not a writer. He can defend himself verbally. But when you want to actually change his art, that's when he can basically, The Rock style, just lay the smack down on your ass.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what he did.
Yes. Because
you decided, look, instead of crapping on him verbally, which is, fine, whatever, they decided to take it into his arena. That's where he and decided, I'm going to change his art. Oh yeah, you're going to change. This is it's like trying to pick a fight with Michelangelo or Da Vinci in the artwork with canvas.
Good. I gave this Mona Lisa some dimples, so it looks a little bit more like she's smiling happily.
Yeah, but I like Perch video. That's just a a-hole move right there, man. Just messing with people like that. I never agree with fits this. That's disrespectful. It's very disrespectful. Now, I saw somebody in the chat that was very hilarious. The only person that needs to have their stuff fixed, and I know you guys about to throw darts at me, but I don't care. Rob Liefeld, Captain America's breastises.
That was one time. It never even made it into a comic book.
That's been debunked so many times. It's ridiculous. They actually even showed a pose by Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's identical to the way that Captain America is standing. Yeah.
Pele.
I mean,
the guns look like this, sir.
It's been debunked.
It doesn't matter.
The guns look like this.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
That's pipes. That's not guns.
The drawing looks silly. It does look silly, but it was a long time ago. We can move on.
Yeah.
Hey, Darth Bobcat, this is awesome.
Yes, I was surprised the fix didn't make her fat or bend race. It's an awful fix, but it was still sort of MJ. Well, I think a lot of what he was saying was like, once they fixed, she had like a Popeye arm. You couldn't sit on a couch like that. What did you think about the fix, Perch? Was it? I thought him replying was apropos.
I think it's fine from look. I like I said, and as Jay referenced, it's a dick move, and everybody knows it's a dick move. If you're gonna go and say I fixed it for you, whether you're doing art, whether you're fixing somebody's tweet, whether somebody writes something and then you do your kind of funny, fixed it for you. Look, I changed the words. It's you're being a jerk. That's the whole point of what you're doing. So if you're gonna be a jerk, you got to own up to it when somebody calls you out for being a jerk, which he did. And that was really all there was to it. I mean, I don't blame him for, wanting to have some fun with it. I do think he was having some fun with it. I don't think J. Scott Campbell was sitting there in seething rage, getting ready to smack him back. I think he was like, I'm gonna laugh at this. I'm gonna do it in an amusing way, and he did. What he did was funny. He was making little jokes, and there you have it. But the J. Scott Campbell, he's wrong. He does problematic art. Has been going on now for it's at least 10 years. And it gains a little bit of steam every year, and I get the exhaustion. I feel the same way all the time with stuff. It's like I ignore it for 9 years. It's like, okay, I'm over. So, I agree with Eric here. We'll get to a super chat. It's not really punching down. When you come up and you say, I fixed it for you, that person is trying to elevate themselves over you, and when they're doing that, then it's no longer quote unquote punching down. The person wasn't an innocent victim. They were a jerk, and they leaned into it.
So you mentioned the super chat from Eric Canetti. I do want to say thank you very much for supporting the channel. Obviously, he is a comic book artist. He works in video games, so he does a lot of artwork. To me, it's not punching down. The moment someone claimed they did it better than J. Scott Campbell, they proclaim themselves that they're on the same level.
Yep.
And open themselves up for the same kind of criticism.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that, RJ. What were you saying?
No, I was just saying that, it's not so much that they redrew the picture. Anybody can redraw that picture, say, hey, here's an iconic picture that everybody likes. I did it this way. Tell me what you think. And if he'd have come back and fixed that would have been a dick move.
Yeah.
It's the whole tude that gets thrown under this thing, saying how that, they fixed something, implying that there was something wrong with it in the first place. And the funniest fix to that picture was done by Campbell himself in another picture where it's like, MJ, her legs out on the coffee table, slumped into the couch, says, I don't really sit like that. In a word balloon.
Potato chips.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd already parodied his own image there. So thank you very much to Eric Canetti and Darth Bobcat for supporting the channel.
I'm just sitting here looking at that cover in my hand right now.
Yep.
It's a great cover.
Yep.
I love it.
Great cover.
It's like what Perch said, how much money that we've made, how much money retailers have made over that cover for the last 5 years. It's pretty epic. But
I've got my art studio, my desk right here. It's got all my drawing material. It's got a bunch of original art on the wall, and up there is one of the original prints signed by Campbell of this exact picture. I just sent Wes a photo of it. It's an iconic picture. Everybody's seen it, and it is one of those things like get over it. I mean, seriously, there's not anything terrible about this. You guys got to stop.
Actually, I think it's kind of helped Campbell a bit, because if you really look at it, it's created controversy, but just the clapback, that Campbell fans have been able to do, has kind of elevated him a bit. So although it's annoying, it still keeps his name out there. So
he needs to have one standard reply every time somebody fixes his artwork from now on. It's like anytime somebody puts up a J. Scott Campbell thing, says, look at this, I fixed this, just reply back with a naked danger girl. And just
a form letter with a naked danger girl.
Yeah.
So Perch, I know you did a video. I think it was about the I don't know, was it a memo that J. Scott Campbell put out that RJ was talking about earlier? That's what you were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah, I mean, and it's more just I hate the fact that he had to do it, and I see people in the comments, in the chat, and others who are really honing in on kind of one sentence in that statement. And I would, read that statement carefully. I don't think he's throwing a bunch of people under the bus. I think that it feels that way, and I get it, especially for a bunch of people who came and jumped on. But the problem is that the problem is in the statement, because I mean, if you read it, most reasonable people will look at this and go, yeah, there's nothing inherently wrong in what he wrote here. It's pretty normal stuff that he's putting but it's pathetic that he feels he has to. That's the problem, is this environment where you got to say something. And look at what the crux of that memo was. I'm trying to go through and delete all the comments that are hateful and terrible. And granted, some of those comments are hateful and terrible, and nobody likes to hear it. But I do a video on, say, Monica Rambeau, and I get some racist, terrible crap in my video comments. I do, and they're terrible. But feeling like he now has to go through and stay up day and night deleting all these comments, or he's terrible, is it's insanity to think that anybody should be held to that standard. He's not suddenly responsible for the world, and these are public platforms. And all this is going to do is cause people to shut out completely. He will eventually just delete his Instagram, and he'll turn off the comments for everything. And that's where all this goes. And is that what people want?
Perch, you're right, because when you respond to the mob is going to respond back. It's not over.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's and the reality is everybody is smarter than this. They know. Campbell isn't sitting there going, well, he left this racist comment up on his Instagram for 3 hours, so he must approve it. Racist. That's not how. Nobody smart thinks that way.
But you can tell someone behind the scenes had said that to him. They felt he had to go and address it.
And most likely it was an editor or somebody at one of the publishers who said, hey, we hear that you're involved in some sexist stuff. And I'm sure a lawyer or some other people also looked at that letter before it went out. And it's just sad to me. It's sad that had to happen. For people who are really thinking, hey, he rolled things out about Comicsgate or whatever. He shouldn't have to make these statements. And so stop Campbell should not have bent the knee. Yeah, you shouldn't have to write a statement, period, for any group. It's stupid. I agree. You shouldn't have to have done that.
Yeah, I agree too. I mean, he obviously doesn't have a problem standing up to the mob. So when he put that statement out, that whole thing read of a high-ranking peer or an editor has had a conversation with me now.
Yeah, he had to clarify, and I don't feel like I feel like everybody's smart enough. This is all performative. They know what they know what his intent is. They know that he doesn't support some rando putting crazy comments on his account. They know all this, and I think people should read Jamie's comment in the chat. He's correct. It's a muddled, it's a muddled situation in there. But it's the problem here is that he felt he had to do this in the first place. Now we had a bunch of chats and I've been rambling on, so we should get
that's all good. We got Darth Bobcat.
Yeah, because you know how Wes is. Shut up. We got super.
Yeah. I'm never like that to Perch. I always treat him with respect.
Except in the private chat. Can you guys stop talking so much? I got super chats to answer.
Well, you don't have to talk about the behind the scenes nature of this broadcast.
Don't air your dirty laundry, man.
I'm taking screen caps for later.
Darth Bobcat's got a point. Campbell is problematic, but Greg Land is tracing porn. I think we've all seen
Greg Land is a disgrace to comic book artists around the land. All his women make faces like this.
Yes, because it's
Screenshot.
porn.
Yeah.
That's going to make a great thumbnail, Fatal J. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
He's not just tracing porn, he's tracing other comic book artists.
Yep. Yeah. That's a whole nother thing. We've got Kenneth Dowling. Thank you so much for supporting the channel.
What up, Kenneth?
Good morning, guys. Shout out to Perch. Haven't seen you in the panel for a minute. Yes, we're glad to have him back. F the mob, buddy. Hi, Fatal J. Hope your comic book is going well. How's the comic book coming, Fatal J? How'd the campaign go?
Thanks to people like Thinking Critical Platform and Critical Blast Platform. Fatal J is almost at 7K. I want to thank y'all so much. I am knocking out pages like a madman, and by the end of June, I'm shipping out the comic book. And I just want to thank everybody for backing, supporting. It's been a fun ride. I appreciate everybody.
So the experience was fulfilling thus far?
Well, you saved my life during this campaign. It almost was a disaster.
Talk about the behind-the-scenes nature of our relationship, Fatal J.
Okay.
I did nothing.
Yes, you
Fatal
did. Yes,
J
you did. You were like, whoosh, get your act together. And I said, yes, sir.
Given some advice here and there, just from things I've learned from other people. But thank you so much, Kenneth Dowling. And we're all very proud of Fatal J. His first comic book's coming out, the first of many. I imagine we're going to get more Ninja Blast in the not too distant future.
Si, senor.
Does anybody have any other comments about, just the J. Scott Campbell or just art fixing?
I just think.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to just say that I actually prefer the cover to Amazing Spider-Man 607 a little more than 601, the one with the black cat wearing Spidey's shirt. It's kind of dope.
Yeah, that's the kind of there's a lot of different ways you could take that.
I think we need to put a magnifying glass on that one and just basically post that one repeatedly everywhere. Because
so, Doc, I know you got an opinion about this. What's up with the sub community? Like, there are people out there when they do their art fixes. A lot of times, it's for their own, like a spotlight on themselves. They want people to see their art of things that they've seen. They're chasing clout. They want to feel like they can go out there and criticize other people. With what J. Scott Campbell did, that certainly put a spotlight on this person. Do you think this will encourage people to continue doing it in the future?
Maybe, but I'm thinking probably not. I think you're going to get, what I think you'll have. The only people, I think, the people that will continue to do this are the people that are actually have some degree of talent, or that just, No, the people that actually have talent are going to stop doing it and they'll be posting their own stuff. But the people that just want to make a political point, they'll keep doing it because they don't care whether or not they get spanked or clapped back on or whatever, because they got their point across. They just needed to get viral with their message. That was the whole point.
Yeah. So we do have a Canadian super chat from You Murder That Guy, 222. Which of you owns a bidet? Shout out to the bidet bros. If I'm going to guess, Pele and Perch own bidets.
I do.
Yeah, I got one of those Japanese toilets. You bet.
Yep.
I do not.
All right. RJ?
I do not. I thought they were water fountains.
I do not either, and there's no way Fatal J does. So I'm going to say I got that one right. I got both of the people with bidets correct. Booyah! I know my audience, or at least I know my parents.
Japanese toilets where they're at. Heated seat, the whole thing. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. I've been in Japan in the airport. I used one, and it was phenomenal. If I could afford one, there would be in my house. Of course, we wouldn't have water pressure for it, but
as the Federation said, it's the best way to get rid of Klingons.
Cheap bidet, bro.
I just keep seeing that scene in Cars 2 where Mater's in the Japanese toilet and there's like 1,000 buttons and it does all kinds of things.
Wonderful.
So, thank you, You Murder That Guy. Appreciate the support from north of the border. We've also got Eric Canetti. Say what you will about J. Scott Campbell and his artwork. He knows his audience and his business. All due respect to him for being consistent and successful. That's another thing that bothers me, RJ, is a lot of people, they're criticizing him for his cheesecake covers as if he's drawing them for himself. He's drawing those instead of interior artwork because that's what sells. That's what Marvel contracts him to do. That's what everybody contracts him to do because that's what sells and brings people into the audience or into the comic shop to pay for. What's he supposed to do? Sell, make comic or make art that people don't want?
Well, that's like saying that, somebody had a thread going about the JSC stuff. Like, he could drop the cheesecake and not shed any fans at all. I'm like, well, that's like saying, that Vargas could have dropped the cheesecake and just sold landscapes and still sold as many paintings. It's what he's known for. It's what people come to him for because he's good at it.
Yeah, and they're wonderful, wonderful covers. That's what people come for. Pele, I know you collect all J. Scott Campbell covers, correct?
Just about. I'm pretty much big fanboy. I have been since he broke onto the scene, but maybe not all of them, but most of them definitely.
Same here.
We buy our shop buys directly from his publisher, from his printers. for his limited edition stuff, and we sell it. So
Pele, I was actually a fan when he first came onto the scene. I like his art now, but it seemed like to me, I just gravitated more to when he first came into, because he started out with Wildstorm, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He started on Gen 13.
yeah. But yeah, it's that was about the time I was really getting into that, and also Michael Turner, and
I love Michael Turner. I tell everybody Turner is in my top 3, and people look at me crazy when I say that, but that dude was impressive. He died way too young, man.
oh yeah,
I love his stuff.
But yeah, he was kind of in that batch of artists second gen artists that just really did the female form well.
They drew him the best, and I even put people like Stephen Platt into their second wave. Their second wave, those dudes was impressive, but their careers wasn't that long in comic books.
Yeah,
it was real strange.
And
Perch, I think you made a video about that, about those guys that they didn't last too long.
Yeah, like Platt and some of these others. Yeah, it's interesting. The industry tends to do that to people. It's a shame. There's and I think we see it now. Some other people have talked about. I was talking to a friend about the 5-year career and this arc and trajectory that happens where you get going too fast, you get pushed right away. You don't get any of the fundamentals, and within 5 years you're gone. And it's writers, it's artists. It does happen.
Doc and I had a video about that last week.
Yeah, exactly.
The weird trajectory of comic book careers right now.
Yeah. I think to Wes's point, what's been amazing about J. Scott Campbell is his consistency, and it's consistently great. He consistently knows what the fans want, and it's not lurid. It's not vulgar. There's nothing like that. It's tasteful female forms, and he knows how to bring that out. And there's a lot of artists that do it, but I don't think that they do it as well. I don't think people criticize, they're like, well, all the faces look the same, or all it's
look at any comic artist, Jim Aparo, all the faces
they all have a style. They all have a style,
and they all look like his wife.
Yeah.
Well,
which is kind of awesome.
Him for that.
Good for him.
No, dude, say thank you to You Murder That Guy for $2 Canadian, $2 for Wes's bidet fund. Thank you very much. Fatal J, do you own a bidet?
What?
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, let's go with
I was correct. We do have another super chat from Jasper Playing 9, 1999. Thank you very much. Very generous. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Fatal J was on Michael Bancroft's Comicsgate channel. He got a bunch of new backers and love. CG is not all right. Hate group. Also, I've chosen some paint swatches for your wall. We can discuss later. My son pulled the paint off. I've got 2 more kids that are going to do the same thing. I understand. I wish I could fix it. It will happen in time.
And shout out to Bancroft, man. That dude is awesome. I had a good time on this channel. Thank you for having me.
It's here for the
It's nice of him to bring out and let you signal boost your project and get some new backers.
And I was sad to say, Wes, you're going to laugh. I was extremely late to his show, so I just don't do it to you.
No, I know. You're the
I was at
diva.
least.
You show up when you show up.
Well, man, look here. I have to go to the restroom because I be so nervous on these streams. So I drop a load. The load may last longer than I expected.
We don't need to know this.
I think I was late on
We don't need that, Jay. Stop.
Critical Blast. Was I late on your stuff too?
We already had.
You were right on time.
We already had fecal crap on here.
Jay, we don't. No. Everybody stop. The only time we care is when he has a breakfast burrito. That's it. That's all we need to know about Jay behind the scenes. Okay. Breakfast burrito. Yeah.
To get into Jasper Playing 9's super chat here, I don't think CG or alt-right or a hate group, but I do think there are certain people within CG that do give them a bad name, and I imagine J. Scott Campbell doesn't know everybody in CG, but he knows
there's good and bad in every group.
Yeah,
That's it, Pele. That's it. Good and bad in every group.
There definitely are, and it's disingenuous. I think people are like, no, there's never been any problems here. We know there are some problems in these groups. There are, and that doesn't mean you have to condemn everything. We don't live in a world where, and that's part of his statement that I think was actually quite good, and I wish people would focus on that more. Like, we do not live in a world of only two sides and two groups, and you have to be on one or you have to be on the other, and that's the only thing. We don't live that way as humans. So I like that part of his statement. It was correct. And it's just, there's some people who've given things a bad name. They absolutely have, and we should stop pretending that they didn't, because that's not helping.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not going to boil everybody down to like, you're with this group or you're against this group. We're going to talk about people's individuals, because that's what human beings do, and that's it.
Except for commies.
Well, whatever, Doc. Shut up. So I think J. Scott Campbell and I are basically kind of in the same generation. I don't like being drafted into movements. Let me make my own choice and say if I want to be a part of something or not. You don't get to tell me what I am or am not a part of. And I believe that's probably why he gave the feedback that he did.
Yeah. Every healthy functioning body on the planet has an asshole, and half of them have dicks. And that's going to be true of any group as a body as well. So
it's I think the group thing is, I like you. I don't like being told what to do. So as soon as somebody wants to draft into a group here or there, it's like, you know what? You make comics. You're a nice person. I support you. Just I don't really care about your label. And here. That's my goal.
Campbell would probably be just as upset if somebody lumped him in with the woke, comic pros as he would if somebody
lumped disavowed censorship and all that stuff.
Yeah, because he doesn't like to be lumped in with other people, and I don't blame him. So
So we got a $5 super chat from Lane Kramer. Apparently we're using some terms he's not used to. What is Comicsgate supposed to be? I'm not on social media, but I heard this name for years. I guess EBS is associated with it. Comicsgate is just a group of fans that are dissatisfied with the current state of the industry. And they let that be known, and eventually it kind of evolved over time, and now there are a group of professional comic creators, amateurs that are coming up into professional ranks that are creating comic books for the people in Comicsgate, but of course outside as well. And I don't know. That's about what Comicsgate is. Do you have anything more to add, Critical Blast?
Well, I always liken it to religion. Not that it's a cult of any kind, but if mainstream comics, if DC and Marvel were like the Catholic Church at the Council of Nicaea, then your boy Zach and Captain Cummings were Martin Luther nailing up the proclamation on the chapel door. And since that time, it's just splintered and fractioned and schismed to the point where there's all different bands of people who they're all Comicsgate because they say they're Comicsgate, which is all you really need, but they practice it at different varying levels of purity. So you've got Southern Comicsgate and Reformed Comicsgate and all the way down to Westboro Comicsgate, which is,
This is why I'm like, nah, I'm all right.
That's a good analogy.
Well, Council Nicaea and Martin Luther about 1,000 years apart, but yes, otherwise you're dead on the money. It's just they're different factions, and those different factions, just don't like each other, and you could argue which faction is more pure or more holy or whatever like that, but at the end of the day, you have to make your decision for yourself where you're going to spend your money.
I'd say not to stay on this topic too long. Be part of the group. Be part of the group. Obviously, J. Scott Campbell does not want to be.
Not to stay on this topic too long, but that's when I first noticed. That's what I noticed. The first person I noticed that was in CG was your boy Zach. I used to watch his videos years ago, and I kind of liked how he break down the comic books he read, because I kind of had the same ideas that it was just too much iffy stuff going on with modern day comics.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Lane Kramer, supporting the channel.
Yeah, but at the same time, Zach's walked away from that at this point.
Okay. See, I didn't know that.
He doesn't mention it. He just doesn't get into it, and it's just too much. Like I said, some of the worst attacks I've gotten have absolutely been from people who say they're CG, and at the same time, there's been some great support from people who say they're CG. So at the end of the day, look, be a normal individual. I'm with you. I want to hear what you have to say, and it's all good. And it's unfortunately, if you ask people what is CG, you'll get 50 different answers. And people hate it when somebody says that, because it's like, no, I speak for it. But I tried about 3 months ago to say, come on my show and let's do an interview and you just explain what it is. And it was this bizarre. I had 3 people saying, don't talk to that guy. He doesn't speak for it. I speak for it. It's like, oh my God. Look, make good comics. Make good comics. You put it under whatever label you want. Make good comics. Be normal to each other. I'm all behind you. I support you. And if you're from CG and you're a normal person, you're saying you're just helping, I will support you. And if you're a crazy person, then I'm not going to support you. But it's not because of the label; it's because you're crazy. That's what's going to cause it. I don't think it's not that hard.
Well, crazy people are sometimes kind of fun, though.
Well, it depends if you're dating or
that's
not.
because that's your kind of girl, Doc, and not everybody likes that.
Yeah.
I guess what gets me is if they're actively trying to destroy what the traditional comics that we love from Marvel and DC, and trying to tear down, what is our own American art form, our own, culture in comics, then they're my enemy. And unfortunately, that seems to be coming from one particular group and not the other of late. So, that's the way I look at it. I think that one is definitely more harmful than the other, but there are good people in both, and there are bad people in both. So
I just don't care.
Do my own thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to be told what to do. That's the end of the day.
I stopped caring a long time ago about all of this. Let's get back to the topics.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Does anyone have any final words on the J. Scott Campbell art fixing controversy and his response?
I do. When is J. Scott gonna go back to doing comics? I mean, I know he the cover man, but
he doesn't need to. He gets paid for doing covers. Why would he go and grind out interiors when he can just make covers and make twice as much money?
I know, but I want to see Danger Girl or something, or Gen 13, or
he said he's got 2 issues of Spider-Man that he's completed that Marvel have never released.
Wow. Did y'all ever like his Spider-Man run? I ain't mean to cut you
He never did one. He never did a Spider-Man run.
He never did?
Because it was supposed to be him and Jeff Loeb doing a Spider-Man miniseries that was announced like 15 years ago, and it never came out.
Seemed like when I was younger, I saw him do maybe I just saw the covers. It was the covers. You're right. It was the covers.
He started during the JMS era as the cover artist.
That's right.
When JMS took over the book, and he stayed there up through about issue 400, almost to issue 500. And then he made sporadic, did sporadic covers after that. And
I remember that because he got an iconic cover where he wrapping the robbers up in a ball.
Issue 32, the one that everybody compares whenever the Milo Manara, Spider-Woman controversy happened. We're sitting there looking at the Spider-Man issue ASM 32, and everybody's like, well, what the hell's the difference?
All right, Doc. So Lane Kramer says, I would like Joe Mad to come back to drawing comics again. He's
Joe
coming
Mad
back. He's doing 2 issues of
he's not
Battle
doing
Chasers.
He ain't coming back.
Drawing them.
He's doing that video game stuff.
Why is that, Doc?
No,
he's not
got 2 issues. He'll do it. He's
not drawing them. He's not drawing them.
Stop, Doc. Why is he not drawing them?
I don't know.
Because he makes more money in video games.
Oh God, yes. But this was the whole point of those 2 issues. Those were supposed to be basically guaranteed after he got the Battle Chasers video game.
Listen, this is 20
funded.
years ago, Doc.
No, the video game from like 10 years ago. When he got that funded. That was one of his stretch goals, to do the last issues of Battle Chasers. But
that's bad. Stretch goals they have.
I know.
You get 2
Let me
issues
tell you
about
about stretch goals.
Yeah, let me tell you about stretch goals. Sometimes, he makes more money in video games. He's not coming back, and it sucks. And it's something I'm going to talk to Aaron Sparrow. I think it's going to come out tomorrow or on Monday. I'm not really sure.
But that's like
any final words on J. Scott Campbell besides?
But that was like what Perch said. That's just like what Perch said. People like J. Scott, Joe Mad, Michael Turner, rest of soul, Stephen Platt. I just hate that wave is gone because they brought a new fire to comic books, but it seems like they're now in other platforms instead of comic books.
They're not gone. They're not gone. It's just that they're not in an in group now. So
no, most of them are actually just not doing comics. I mean,
they're working video games and doing other sports, other things with their lives. So it's time to move on.
Yeah, Jeff.
Yeah, move on.
JSC is going to keep making millions on doing his store variants. So who cares?
Well, he does his own variants too, which I probably.
That's what I mean. The store variants.
I'll say this. So, one, J. Scott Campbell's not getting canceled. He makes a lot of money for Marvel. He makes a lot of money for some of the people who are attacking him bluntly. I mean, that's the sad part. You see creators who are like, yeah, that art is bad. It's like, hey, you benefited from a variant cover that helped boost the sales of your series. So maybe, that's kicking somebody right in the mouth, but he makes a lot of money. This is a silly tempest. It's just being managed. I'm sure he was, I would be unsurprised if he was asked to give that statement to kind of just put an end cap to it all. But the reality is he's going to continue to go make covers. He's been making covers for a long time. Marvel's very happy with the covers he makes because it makes them a lot of money, and it's a variant, and they can skirt kind of any responsibility over getting involved in this fight. And the reality is, as much as maybe it matters to all of us because we're on Twitter or on social media, we're seeing these things, 95% of the people who come to the comic shop are not. And they are not seeing this stuff, and they could give a shit, and they are just buying that cover, and so that's why it's going to continue to happen. So please don't get into this stupid "the sky is falling" that he's going to be gone. He's not. He'll be guaranteed to be around a year from now, just like many others, unless he personally completely loses his mind and starts to opt himself out. But I've met Campbell many times. He's a very nice guy.
He's a nice guy. I met him too.
Yeah, he's good businessman. He's he'll run his business just fine.
I want to, and I just want to say this, and then I'm done. I promise. When it comes to this counseling stuff, if it doesn't have to do with like some kind of sex scandal or something, who has really out there been counseled? It's been nobody.
Gina Carano.
Oh, in comics, or just anyway.
She's gotten more fans than anything now.
Sure, your Warren Ellis has been canceled. There's a handful of people, but it's generally speaking, if you're an artist and these kinds of Twitter dramas, they don't go as far as you think, and that's tough to hear because it's like, man, in the middle of it, I'm hearing it. But even when on the other end of the spectrum, when Max Bemis was making all of those things and he was tweeting and he was being an asshole, and he put Doug Ernst into a book, and all the rest of that stuff went on. You looked at sales; none of it mattered. The comic was low. Nobody abandoned it. Nobody came in. All these people were like, "Yeah, Max Bemis, stick it to those people. I'm definitely buying your book now." They did not, and it's such a tiny little part of the world, and it's crazy that it gets as much attention as it is. But like I said, I've got two original art pieces from Campbell. I've got a nice print here. I love the guy. I think his work's great. If you don't, that's fine. Don't buy it.
Chuck Winding got himself canceled.
Yeah, do what Kelly Sue DeConnick says. Don't buy it. Magic. And then you're fine.
Magic. So moving on. Let's talk about the big rumor. I don't know. Is it a big rumor? It's a rumor that's happening that DC Comics are moving towards a crisis in 2022 that's going to move into some big events in 2023. I don't know, Pele. When I read Dark Knight's Death Metal, I felt like I was reading a crisis event. When we walked out of it, it was a complete status quo change. We had the omniverse, lots of things that happened. New, old characters that were dead are back. Didn't we just get a crisis? Is it time for another crisis?
Oh, if DC's another month, so another month of crisis. I think that just because DC feels that the company is in a crisis, so they need to keep putting out crisis. So, I think there's a lot of projection going on. And I'm being serious about that. I think that that's kind of their go-to whenever they feel like, that they're in really deep shit over their heads, that they need to come out with some type of crisis event. Yeah, but prove me wrong. Look at every single time, when they really get in the deepest part of the shit, what do? They run to do a crisis event. It's all it's done. Just let it go. Does anybody care? I know that they're going to sell some more, than they normally would on any given month, but it's an event that's already way past its due date. Who cares anymore? Really, honestly, who cares? It's terrible.
You think we dumb, man? They think we're
So
idiots.
Dark Bobcat has a super chat. He says, "Don't worry, my insiders say they stopped publishing in March. They just had some backlog and strict NDAs. Trust me, I really have insiders." I have a feeling that they're going to be continuing to publish comics.
Well, I just
into the
ordered
future.
through June, so okay.
What do you think, Perch? Are they going to continue publishing comics?
DC? Yeah, yes, of course.
Dark Bobcat's got an insider that said that when March was over, they stopped.
Okay, yeah.
I think he's being facetious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Love Dark
This is
Bobcat.
just the dying corpse of comics from years past. No, I they're going to keep publishing comics. I think. I mean, they may not be comics anybody likes, but that's a whole different question.
That's
I agree.
That's it.
You know, but I think right now DC there's some stuff. It's been a weird rollout. I mean, it is in terms of a marketing launch. I mean, I haven't seen a bigger kind of cluster of a release in a long time. Considering they had the opportunity to do the future state and then completely kind of restart and reboot. What a goofy launch. I mean. Yeah, it's just terrible. But they do have some successes, like you talked about. I talked about the Batman Fortnite thing is insane. How much money that's making. Mm-hmm. You know, again, I know there's different feelings on the writer, but Green Lantern is excellent right now. That second issue was amazing.
Perch, you think it's a correlation between doing stuff like that with video games? Like is that the new direction that the comic book companies go?
I think if you do it right, sure. But I mean, Marvel did a Fortnite thing and it sucked. I mean, it didn't move any needles whatsoever. I think the in-app skins that you can get from the comic definitely helps. That gets it to cross over into a new audience. And I think using Batman and being focused with it, you know what you're going to get. It's Batman, and he's going to be in this world, and there's going to be Batman things going on. I mean, that helps. It makes it very easy to market. I do think this is one of the things Daniel Cherry pushed, and good for him. It worked.
Perch, Eric Kennedy and I were talking about this and some of the opportunities, and we thought maybe in your Batman Fortnite comic book you get a voucher for like 2 free months of DC Infinity or whatever their online app is. So people go in there, maybe get a login code, read some comics for a couple months, and maybe then they're hooked. Maybe that would be an opportunity to get people to come in.
Yeah, that would be smart. I mean, that's so funny that these people don't always make the best decisions. I think with when that hardcover comes out from Amazon, the smartest thing DC could do is put in a 90-day trial or something like that
for a free redeemable.
Yes.
Hush.
On
Halloween.
just a handful of digital books, or maybe some subset of what's on the DC universe. I mean, just something like that. Yeah, absolutely, they should do it. But that was a success. Good for them. In terms of the event, though, I mean, both companies are just so addicted to events at this point, and I think the idea of another crisis is, I mean, the only people who are fooling themselves that dangling a crisis event means anything is probably some people at DC. None of the fans. None of the fans are like, oh my God, a crisis event? You mean the comics are going to change? Oh no, I definitely should pick that up. No one thinks that anymore.
It almost feels like they need one though, right?
They do.
Because we know where Future State goes.
Mm-hmm.
Batman, Superman, Teen Titans, Green Lanterns, they're all heading towards Future State. We know what the end game is. Like, are you just going to sit there and make comic books going to where we know it's going for 4 years?
Yes.
Yeah. I think they are. Yeah.
Look, all Future State is 5G, the remix, but released as the original. It's like, and everybody knows where it's going.
Yeah, it's a gradual. They're heading in that direction, and by the time they reach it, all their comic sales will be zero.
Yeah.
It's a countdown of comic sales until they reach Future State, and then there's no more customers left. I believe that, because the further this is going, the more people that are dropping it. So there are some titles that are, of course, not part of that. Swamp Thing sells incredibly well. Oh my God, Detective, Dark Detective, amazing. There's some books that are just doing better now, or they're new properties that are new titles that are doing well. But there's the vast majority of them are dead on the vine already. So I don't know where they're heading to.
So Jeff Stout's got a good question here, Perch. Why was Didio let go when they're just doing what he planned to do anyway?
Well, the biggest reason is that he was signing. He basically had some contracts in there that were untenable. That were, so for financial reasons, he had some very crazy contracts, and they are crazy in the history. And then also, I think as a sub reason, he had enough people who felt like he allowed some bad behavior to go on within DC, particularly with the editor that we all heard about before. And he had an attitude that I think rubbed a lot of people in HR the wrong way. And so I think there's a lot of those kinds of pieces. And a lot of what he was planning did get dropped. Not all of it. If you listen to some of the streams with Sean or with Jeff, you know that there are plans that aren't happening. But the crux of what the company was doing, they're moving forward in some form or another. Just kind of different from how it was reported.
Moon Knight future state is like watching the end of the movie and then watching the beginning.
Yep.
He's it's kind of like if we were to get the original trilogy, but it was terrible, and then they made the prequels, and you're like, wait, I don't want to see this. I don't care how good the story of how you get there when I don't like the destination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you had a terrible destination, you're like, and I bet you're wondering how I got here. No, not really.
Yeah, just imagine if we had the Disney trilogy first, and then they went to the prequels, and then they went to the middle. It's like, by the time you get to where, the middle, nobody gives a shit and nobody's watching anymore anyway.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Good point there. And Neil Carter's got the best point of all. Make sure you hit the thumbs up if you like this video.
Right.
If you're enjoying the panel, let everyone know that we're having a good time here talking about comic books.
Please do. Get the thumbs up. You got to make up for, I'm bringing these downvotes, so somebody's got to.
Those are mine. Those are my
Perch, anytime Perch is on the panel, minimum 4 downvotes. Normally before we even start.
Yeah. No, it's true. People do not like to hear it. So, yeah, anyway, it is what it is. There's a guy, and to the point, who loudly proclaims himself to be CG that makes a point of mailing me every month to let me know that he subscribes so he can downvote every single one of the videos. And it's not Mumbles being funny. It's just that's what he chooses to do with his life. So to that, I say, thank you for clicking on the video because you're giving me engagement either way.
Either way, it's engagement. They think that's doing the video bad. It's actually doing the video good. So keep downvoting.
You're just helping me. Thank you.
A thumbs after I was reading the sorry to interject you. I was reading somewhere where you get thumbs up, and then after a certain point, thumbs down actually gives you more engagement than a thumbs up.
It's true.
So it's like, you're actually helping. You're benefiting the channel by, occasionally thumbs downing it, not, and
people are more likely to watch things at length that create anxiety than create calm.
Very true. It's part of the game.
I came in and I downvoted because I'm on the panel, so I downvoted myself.
Good plan. Yeah.
Get that foam out of here.
As to the crises, I'm ancient. I'm old. I looked forward to being able to read the Crisis every year because it was an annual event in Justice League all the time. I was going to be a JLA JSA crossover. Sometimes it was a JLA JSA 7 Soldiers. Sometimes it was Legion of Superheroes involved. All the way up until Crisis on Infinite Earths, and they've evolved obviously since then. If they could have had something with Rebirth, but it was a partial birth. It was a partial birth abortion because they were like, no, they rebooted some things, but they kept the others, and suddenly the timeline was just all wonky. And now we've got this timeline, and Perch, you addressed this on one of your videos as well. It came out of that whole fractured state or whatever it was that they did, where Batman 1939 is told, oh, by the way, you're just going to live for decades and never age. I was like, no, that doesn't fly. So if this new Crisis doesn't burn everything to the ground, start at day one, everyone's just starting out, you're going to wait 5 years for Robin, he's going to be Dick Grayson, he's going to be 12 years old, and then they're not getting my dime or my time.
No, well, I mean that video where everybody aged slowly was the one that broke Joe's brain. On a deeper level, I felt bad for him. No, I mean I don't believe DC's ever going to get here. I mean I think some pieces will kind of get there, but by and large, no, they're it's not going to work. Some of these plans that are decades old, they'll do a crisis or two crises or a crisis of infinite crises, and it will all just. They're like, oh, now it's different now, and they're just making it up as they go along. At some point, J.J. Abrams lays out the roadmap for the new DC EU, and suddenly the comics flip to try and support that. It is what it is. And some will be good and some will suck. It is what it is.
J.J. Abrams.
Lane Kramer with the $5 super chat. Can I sidetrack us to something DC that's good? John's JSA from the 90s. What was people's favorite storyline from that? Mine was Princess of Darkness.
Princess of Darkness.
Princess, not princess.
It's the princess.
I love the JSA. Didn't they? It's a new JSA animated movie out, right? Is it one out? I'm about to check that out.
If you liked John's JSA, then watch Stargirl. I know it's a CW show. But it's a breath of fresh air among all the other CW shows.
You know what, RJ? That Superman is pretty good on CW.
I like what I've seen on Superman so far too.
Yeah.
All right, Perch. What's your favorite JSA storyline from Jeff Johns?
I would think I think a ton. I don't know. That's a tough question. I think there's a lot there. I like I like how he wrapped it up. I think a lot of people have claimed that it ended soft, but I felt like he wrapped it up in a satisfying way. I just wish they'd go back to it.
So that would be a good direction for DC Comics. Do you think we're ever going to get that again?
Yeah, I think at some point. Again, I think they'll roll out a movie or something, or they'll do a show, and it is I think it will be back. All these things will come back. I mean, it's IP, and at some point they'll do. And the only hope is that when they do it, they respect the original material, or they bring in somebody who's going to do a good job with it. And it's not going to be one of these like, hey, let's get the hot creator of the minute on Twitter to write this series and go for 5 issues and basically reduce the value of the IP. And that's the problem. What you see now is I know Power Pack is nobody's favorite book, but from back in the day, it did have an audience. It did have people watching it and reading it, and then they do these limited series that wind up diluting and damaging the IP because they don't. Nobody really cares. It's not even good as a nostalgia play, and I just don't want to see the same thing happen with JSA.
Thank you very much, Lane Kramer. It sounds like nobody remembers the exact storyline that they like, but it was good, and we should see the JSA in the upcoming Black Adam movie, which I believe we should get a series out of that as well.
That one or the sequel to Black Adam? We'll see the JSA.
Black Adam.
Well, it's going to be a sequel, of course.
Yeah, it'd take another 12 years.
I'm not going to live that long.
We've been waiting this long, man. The Rock been talking about this since I was in high school, being a Black Adam.
The Rock is going to be in an old man's home by the time they get around to the sequel.
All right, let's move on. We talked about this potential DC crisis. There's actual Marvel news and stuff that we do know is going to happen.
Okay.
John Ridley is moving from DC to write the new Black Panther Wakanda Forever series. There is a new Captain America, a Native American Captain America, coming to the United States Captain America. We have celebs entering into the Hellfire Gala, led by Eminem, Conan O'Brien, and members of the U.S. women's soccer team. And now we know we are getting a Magneto on trial event, the most original idea I've ever heard of. It sounds like you have an idea. Which one of these stories has you the most intrigued, Fatal J?
The Native American Captain America. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just going to be honest with everybody. I'm going to say what everybody thinking, because I know everybody want to be PC, but Fatal J doesn't care about his reputation and how he looks to everybody in the public. That is a terrible idea with the Native American Captain America. I think they should at least, if they want to go that route and be respectable, just create a dope Native American original person and not make him look ridiculous in the Captain America suit. I mean, am I the only one on this one?
The cover looks pretty good, but the character design
That looks horrible. That's horrible.
The whole thing is terrible. It looks like, well, no, it looks like they decided to make Warpath into the Captain America and made it the most gaudy bullshit I have ever seen in my life.
There's more beads and feathers on that thing. That's not a thing costume.
It's a caricature of a Native American.
I don't know if they was trying to be respectable or make fun at the way it looks. It doesn't look good.
And the thing is that, they got Joe Gomez, and he's from the Kickapoo tribe, which is a real tribe, by the way. But, as soon as I read Kickapoo, I'm like, first of all, your audience is juvenile enough that they're going to go for the obvious on this. And second of all, I'm old enough to remember Little Abner, where the Kickapoo tribe was, part of the comic strip there, and it was all, it was all parody and such. And you could buy Kickapoo Joy Juice, which was a real soda that had these, silly-looking native caricatures on it. So when I see Kickapoo, that's why I'm going back to Dog Patch.
Yeah, but buddy of mine, he is all Cherokee. He's all Cherokee all the time. He's a big pro Native American kind of guy, and he's comic reader, loves reading comics, and he's like, they're taking the piss, aren't they? He said they are really taking the piss. They are openly trying to mock Native Americans with this. And I said,
yes, they are.
No. I said, they're white liberals, they're white leftists, and they're going out there and they are trying to save your honor. And he's like, oh my God, they need to stop. For the love of God, they need to stop. And I said, yep, yeah, they do.
They're trying so hard that they went out and got real Native Americans to work on the book.
Yeah, and oh my God, it's bad. This is so bad. And
I'm still confused about needing Captain Americas for different sections of America.
Yeah.
Aren't they just like the Captain America of Harrisburg? Isn't that just Captain Harrisburg?
Yeah. They need Captain Virginia and Captain Minnesota and why don't you just do that? I mean,
no, because America's a country.
Yeah.
Actually, we're a set of continents, but
we're a conglomeration of individual states that make up a larger country.
Yes, so Captain America is the captain of all of it. The captain of something smaller is Captain something smaller.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Captain Kickapoo tribe,
yeah, exactly.
No, I mean the problem with all is it well, I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll get very surprised in this character will be just amazing when we see it in its 8-page backup story, and we'll remember it forever. Maybe that's true. But in general, I think I don't know why they're doing any of this. I mean, I think it dilutes things to have 800 Captain Americas running around. Or 50 flashes or any of this kind of stuff. Like, you get a character that has unique powers and is cool and is something you can brand, and it's like, well, let's just clone this 80 times to try and it's a dumb idea for your business.
What have I been saying for like 3 years now? Stop deteriorating your own goddamn brands.
Stupid. It's completely stupid.
Yeah.
So it's almost like whether or not you like this or you don't like it or any of that kind of stuff. It's kind of irrelevant. It's going to be an 8-page backup story. They're never going to hear from this again. Mm-hmm. And I like I told Wes on my show last night, like, at what point do some of the news outlets that publish these PRs and give a standing ovation to Marvel for doing these kind of diverse things, when do they take a look and go, hey, wait a minute, this character never showed up again?
But this is the thing, Perch. Marvel was always diverse. They just didn't put a label on it. And like when they do things like at the end of Captain America, the TV show, where Sam did the speech, and that was supposed to be uplifting to black people. Sure. Black people don't care. This new thing with making Superman black, the Superman Black movie, black people don't care. And I'm pretty sure with this Native American Captain America stuff, Native American, and I'm not speaking for them, but I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure they don't care. To me, they try to be honorable to the other race of people. but it looks bad. It's almost like they're talking about them. It's like they're trying to humiliate
Well, I
them.
mean, nobody's they're not gonna care because it's an 8-page backup story, and we'll never see this character again. I mean, who's gonna get excited about that? It's like it doesn't even matter, and that's the problem with all this stuff. Whether it's a Captain America the Unhoused or whatever it happens to be, like if you truly support this, if you want to support Native Americans, you want to make a comic out there, don't cancel Red Wolf. Don't how about you put one of the more expensive creative teams on Red Wolf and market it once in a while? That would be a great plan. But instead, you kind of roll this stuff out with almost nothing, and then of course nobody pays attention to it.
Because this is, I mean, and I really hate getting political on this stuff, but this is just a bunch of self-guilty white liberals doing something temporarily to satiate their sense of guilt, feeling like, I'm fixing something, and then they just move on to the next thing they feel guilty about. They'll eventually come back to this one because it didn't work, because there are a bunch of broken people that always feel guilty about something, so they feel like they need to use their properties to fix that.
But Doc, they already have dope Native American characters. Y'all already mentioned.
Just make it ongoing. Make it actually stop doing backup stories and actually put your money where your mouth is and do something normal. Do something ongoing. I think this is very performative. It's done.
It is.
But Lane's got a super chat for us. We should.
We do. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I wish they would have Geoff Thorne write Black Panther like he did King in Black. Right? Who did King in Black? Was Donny Cates, right?
No, he did the King in Black spinoff. It was a little limited.
Oh, I've got you. The limited series, yes.
Yeah, a little.
Can we get Mossy to write Panther? I know he's white, but Black Panther would fit his hero storytelling style, I think, perfect. It would be nice to have a little change of pace to get some classic, superhero storylines in Black Panther. I
would love it if they bring a writer in who and both these guys, Thorne and Tomasi, I'm assuming that's, or maybe you mean somebody else there, but either of these people, they respect the history. Black Panther's got 50 years of comic history to tap into. It would be great if they could just, get somebody who actually wants to lean into that and maybe sell some trades and some omnibuses in the process. I mean, that would be super. I think, do more of that.
That would require getting somebody that's actually read any of this, and rather than the people that just want to use it for making a name for themselves in the comic industry.
Yep.
Sure.
It's somebody with no talent.
I mean, please, somebody make a new character. Quit thinking that your race or your ethnicity is a barrier to becoming a hero. Therefore, we're going to give you something that a white character has already plowed the field for to make it easy for you, and give you this stolen gravitas, and make that character someone whose identity is not dependent on their ethnicity.
Right.
If you're going to have a Native American hero, have somebody that's just, I've got a cool name, I've got a cool costume. My costume and my name don't necessarily have to reflect my tribe or my values. It's just, I'm Hammerman or whatever. I just happen to be Native American.
Yeah, how racist is it?
Yeah, because you know what?
How racist?
Go ahead, Pele.
How racist is it that you these people believe that the only way that they can make a successful character from a minority group is if they take the idea from an existing white character? That's just so demeaning.
It's shortcutting. Pele,
Soft bigotry of low expectations.
It absolutely is.
It's attempt to say this. It's like somebody wakes up and they're like, "Oh crap, we need a Native American character." Okay, well, we can put in some work. We can, we can actually go back into our history and pick one of the, what's going on with Forge lately? Oh, we've got him kind of goofily pining after Storm, and we've turned into a synth. Oh, okay, well, can't do anything there. But I mean, we just pick one of these Native American characters you have, or put in the work of, what's going to take 3 to 5 years to build up a cool character, and you'll be fine. But instead, they want to shortcut this whole thing. They want to basically say, we want to get all the popularity of this current character. We want to get all the popularity of Captain America or Spider-Man, whatever it is, and we want to shortcut to the front of the line and have everybody buy this and almost trick them into buying it. And that's why it fails, because the customers know this is going on and they hate it.
And when it fails, they just start pointing fingers, calling other people racist and phobes and stuff like that.
Well, or that, and they just stop caring. I mean, the sad part about this is they'll do all this effort, they'll put the comic out, and then 1 or 2 months after it's out in the market, they're done. Like you no more marketing. They just let it die, and then oh shit, what happened? And it's like you got to put in the work.
In fairness, though, their marketing for that is exactly the same as it is for their events, where before it even actually gets released, they're already talking about the next thing after that. So
yeah, sure.
This is just another example of their sales and marketing department being fucking terrible.
It's. I mean, we got the trial of Magneto being promoted before we've hit the Hellfire Gala, and now, granted, I get why you want to get past that Gala as quickly as possible, but still. You don't start marketing the next event before the first event's even finished. I mean, the Avengers is on to the World War She-Hulk, and Spider-Man's got 2 events down the road it's promoting. I mean, it's just stupid. And to the original point,
John Ridley.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
John Ridley.
We got another super chat from Kenneth Dowling talking about this. I saw Wes and Perch talking about John Ridley's Black Panther book. I don't know. I'm not a fan of his new Batman book. Very messy. I know you hate it when I agree with Fatal J, but I do on PC culture. I don't hate it when anyone agrees with Fatal J. I like busting Fatal J's balls on the channel. Fatal J,
he does. He hates it. It hurts his soul when Fatal J is right, which is most of the time I'm right. Look at the face he's making. He's hurt. Okay, so thank you, Kenneth, for acknowledging that.
I can see his head just ballooning up. Kenneth Dowling agrees with me again. Oh my goodness, but. I don't know. What do you guys think about his Batman book? I agree with him. There was too many plot lines. You had a 4-issue miniseries in Future State. There was way too much going on.
John Ridley's a bad writer. I don't understand where everybody thinks that he's good. I've never read anything that he's ever written that was actually even tolerable. Yeah. He's just not good.
What did you think, Perch, of his Batman stuff? I thought it was messy. I agree with Kenneth here.
Yeah, I didn't think it was good. It was the weaker of the two, and I know all the YouTube channels are like, oh man, Mariko Tamaki, it's gonna suck. Hey, what do you know? She came out with a better of the 2 books. Who saw that coming? But no, it felt very uninspired. I don't look forward to him on Black Panther like we talked about. I like why you got Priest on your payroll. You know, he's got a great Black Panther run on record. You know, there's lots of other writers that you can put into this bath, black and white. That's kind of irrelevant. Who could do a good book? You've got plenty. I don't know why you're doing this stunt casting. It never ends well.
Oh, I know exactly why. Because John Ridley, from day one, the first thing I've ever read by him was Authority Human on the Inside. He has one tool in his toolbox, and that is take an existing property that is popular at the time, use it as a mouthpiece for my political beliefs. That's all he does. He's doing it in the other history. He did it on Human in the Inside. He did it on the Warblade miniseries. Everything I've ever read by him in comics is him taking an established property and using it as a mouthpiece for his political beliefs. That's all he does.
Okay. Well, we do have Retro Man with the $20 super chat. Thank you very much. Very generous. This is a Pele subject. It's got Pele written all over it. Mm-hmm. Thoughts on the new Moon Knight run? Also favorite between Marvel Now and Jeff Lemire's runs. Max Bemis run made me mad, and forget about what Jason Aaron did. Are you excited about this new Moon Knight series?
Yes. Well, all new Moonlight attempts. I'll call them attempts because sometimes they miss the mark. Always excite me in the beginning, and I'm a little bit more excited about this one than some in the past. And all the talk about him, the back issues are on fire right now, more than normal. And there's just a lot of energy behind Moon Knight, and got coming to TV, or at least to a show, possibly the films. Since Marvel's going ahead with this kind of new horror type of pitch, But yeah, I'm excited. I think that this is really what Marvel needs to focus on right now. This is what the fans are kind of clamoring for, and the other stuff that they're doing, that's not it. that's not it. This is it. This is what they need to look into. But I know that it'll be their secondary project or tertiary project. But if they had any really good consultants on the inside, this is what they should focus on, because it's going to blow the doors off everything else that they're currently trying to push.
What's your favorite run on Moon Knight, Pele?
Oh yeah, the original 70s. The original 70s series.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The Bill Sienkiewicz covers. I mean, my gosh, that is just it's legendary. I mean, it's not just good, it's legendary. And, it all started, of course, you got all the stuff that started out Marvel Spotlight with Werewolf by Night, goes into Werewolf by Night, goes into Moon Knight. And you have to kind of start at the beginning with that and work your way through. And it's one of the better storylines, in Marvel Comics from the 70s. And you need to pick that series up. It's a really great omnibus. Actually, it's more like just a trade paperback size because it's not a very long series. But read that, get started on it, and you'll be hooked on Moon Knight.
I'm with Megatron. Yeah, I was with Megatron Q, Steve Black. Moon Knight is incredible. And that comic book is going up, and up. I need to hurry up and get that.
You should buy it while you have a chance, buddy.
I know.
Yeah,
you're
the
right.
original series right now, I mean, they were cheap for so long, and they're not cheap anymore, and they're going to get a lot more expensive, and they were not heavily printed. One thing that you can tell about that old 70s series, just as a quick side out there, it was not ad-based. There were no ads in that comic. It was all story, all art. And because they just they didn't have anybody that was wanting to really put their advertising in that comic, and it kind of went ahead on its own steam, and it's amazing. It really is. It's almost reads like an indie series. Really fantastic.
All right, so we have another super chat from Darth Bobcat, $2. Is Magneto accused of crimes against fashion? What is it, RJ? Is he wearing the wrong flats out of season?
I have no idea.
White after Labor Day.
He's a fashionist.
Yes, yes, he is. He's a Auschwitz surviving fashionist.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have not liked Magneto since they've tried to redeem Magneto and say, well, he's not really a bad guy. He's just, he's got a different worldview because of this very, very sympathetic background that we've given him, which, by the way, also makes him about, 90 years old?
He's also he's been de-aged at least twice.
Yeah. Plus, he's been resurrected, so he's like 3 weeks old in reality.
That's
all these people are. By the way, think about that next time you're seeing these characters hook up. They're all like 2 to 3 weeks old. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Darth Bobcat. We've got Chris from Comics Exposed. J. Scott Campbell did nothing wrong. Now I've got to go to sleep. Take care, guys. Well, thank you very much for supporting the channel. I hope you get a good nap and you can come back and finish up the stream. Thank you very much. We also got I lost it because Fatal J interrupted me. My goodness. We got Kenneth Dowling.
I was just telling him. I was just saying good night to the guy. I miss him.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Very, very generous. On Lane Kramer, he means the King of Black one shot from Geoff Thorne. I want Thorne on Black Panther, and everything you guys are saying on the topic of Native American Cap, I agree with. I've been saying the same thing on Miles Morales. Yes. Well, there you go.
Whoa. Miles Morales is okay. That's pretty good. This right here is too much. It's overkill.
But
Miles Morales
but it's still just hand-me-down Spider-Man.
He was cool in the Ultimate Universe when he was the Spider-Man.
Yes, I totally agree. They brought him more to the mainstream universe, and they took away his uniqueness in the process. They ruined that character for no good reason. Yeah, I think that King of Black one shot was good. Like I said, there's a bunch of people. Just put somebody, for the love of God, and same thing with Moon Knight. We were talking about some of these old runs. The 70s, absolutely can't agree with Pele more. That there's some amazing comics. I mean, like some of the best comics you've read are in that run. And put somebody on the book who either knows it or at least gives enough of a shit to go and read it. Like, please.
You know what? I got a great idea. We're going to take all of the diversity versions of all the characters that were created by that were trailblazed by white straight guys and call a book "Hand-Me-Down Heroes."
Yep.
Very seldom does the hand-me-down.
That would be a good book.
Though. I mean, there's some places where it's succeeded, but usually it's because the mantle that's being passed down, the mantle is where the power lies, not the person. Yeah. So, when Tony Stark gave, Rhodey the Iron Man suit, that worked. When Hal Jordan gave John Stewart the Green Lantern ring, that worked because it was just somebody taking the office, and with the office came the power. But when you got, this other stuff where people just start calling themselves that, or they get the same power set through a different means, it's not the same, or they just change the character period by fiat.
Or it's also a trope now where it's overused to such a degree it makes you roll your eyes like, oh, they're doing this again. There's nothing special about it in it.
Yeah.
So what was cool at one point in time has been so overused that it's become cliche and boring. So thank you very much to Kenneth Dowling for supporting the channel. We are a little bit behind schedule, so we'll move on to the next topic. We've got Heroes Reborn #1 came out this week. Pele. I thought this was going to suck. It didn't suck. The art was fantastic. There wasn't really a story there, but if you go in there not expecting a story and you just want to see you want to see the Justice League go in and fight mashups of Marvel villains, you have a book.
Yeah, I overordered, and I ordered light, and I overordered. It was kind of it is. There's a lot of flash in there, and it's not bad. It's not terrible. It's mediocre writing with exceptional art, and unfortunately that only catches people's attention for so long. And a lot of cover buyers, because honestly there were some great covers. There were some really great covers.
The main cover was nothing. It was cardboard.
No, I'm just talking about there's but
the Art Germ Power Princess cover. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, there's some great covers, but otherwise, it just like I said, I overordered, and I got 50 copies that are probably never going to sell. So, or they're not going to sell anytime soon. So, because I wanted the incentive, but okay.
So, Perch, you say Heroes Reborn is a comic for dumb people. I am the audience.
No, like we talked about last night with Joe. No, I mean, if you enjoyed it, then awesome for you, and anybody who liked this comic. But I just the exposition by Blade just lost me. It's like him walking through and just explaining to you like you're a 2-year-old, like this happened and then this happened, and it's like this feels like the dumbing down.
Could have had a montage of just all the characters in their current state, and people would have figured it out.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need all this, but it makes me wonder. Like, I mean, now if you try to do a comic, I mean, even with the mental complexities of Secret Invasion by Bendis, like nobody could even understand that now. You'd have to have Tony Stark there, like, and then the Skrulls came and they were mean. I mean,
they were bad.
And then we turned them into cows.
All right, Doc. Fatal J had his hand up. We're calling on him.
No, I got a question. I haven't read Heroes Reborn. I seen Ed McGuinness is attached to this. I'm interested because I like his art, but who is this character? I keep saying he kind of like Batman, but he got like the gold things inside.
Nighthawk.
You know what I'm
Nighthawk. Squadron Supreme. Yeah.
Is he a good character? I'm kind of interested in that character.
I mean, he was in the 80s.
He was.
Okay.
He was the most interesting version of Nighthawk was during the JMS Supreme Power Marvel Max era reboot.
The Dark
in my opinion.
I mean, the thing about the Squadron Supreme Fatal J is that you have to remember they were a joke when they were first introduced to Marvel. They were a poke at the Justice League at DC. There's a 1-to-1 correlation for every member of the Justice League in the Squadron Supreme. So Nighthawk is Batman.
Gotcha.
That was their way of kind of poking at DC.
Hyperion is Superman. Power Princess is Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Can't remember the name of the Flash.
Mark Grunwald's run of that 12-issue Squadron Supreme is perfect and definitely makes the whole point that it's, we're ripping off the Justice League. Now,
if you like Ed McGuinness art, buy the comic book and just don't read it.
Yeah, you got two options.
I do that all the time too.
That Grunwald run is very good. The JMS run is the darker version of that. That's good. Just different take, but good. And then this current version is the Teletubbies version.
Yes.
Yeah. The current version is, what if the Marvel Universe was the DC version? It would suck. Oh my God, let's go back.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
the Ed McGuinness art is very nice. He does a very good job with that.
Yeah, and it's Jason Aaron, so you guys got about what you should have.
It's way better than anything he's done in Avengers for the past year.
Yes, but it's still written for idiots.
You didn't read it, Doc.
No, I didn't.
Jeez.
No, I there was no. You couldn't pay me to read this. I just said no.
I'm sorry, Perch. We were interrupting you.
No, it sucks. There you go. Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not that bad. It's worth. If you don't have anything to read and you're like, if you pick it up, you're not going to hate it, probably.
If you don't have anything to read and you want to open something with pictures and words on it, then Heroes Reborn is for you. And so is Rorschach. That's another comic for you. It's got page after page of pictures and words. And when you turn those pages, you will see more words.
And so are golden books.
Yeah.
Quick question though. Now, is Heroes Reborn a regular thing with Marvel? Because I can remember back in the day, Jim Lee and Robert Liefeld did a Heroes Reborn too.
This is just trading on that.
They borrowed the name, but they borrowed the premise from Age of Apocalypse.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And it's Avengers: Age of Apocalypse.
There was an anniversary coming up, and nobody had any ideas, and so this is what we got.
Yeah. I mean, I keep all my comics.
Anniversary. sorry, RJ.
No, I keep all my comics in alphabetical, numerical, and chronological order. So I hate it when something goes back to a number one. I'm like, okay, it's number one, but it comes after 306 in my box here, and I've got to know this. So it's bad enough when they do this with titles. If they're going to start reusing the titles of events that have already gone on, they've already done Secret Wars how many times now? I mean, it's no big secret anymore. If they were going to go with a Squadron Supreme book and Squadron Supreme already being a poke at the Justice League, they should have gone all in and just called it Secret Crisis or something with crisis in the title.
If you think it's bad, for a regular comic customer, imagine what it's like for a shop owner who's doing inventory.
Oh God, yes.
Oh Jesus Christ! There's no reason in the world for this shit, and you just want to burn the whole damn thing down after a while.
Somebody calls you on the phone and says, "Do you have Captain Marvel #1?"
Which one?
There's the one that just came out. Oh,
and we've got them all.
Yeah, all of them. Oh, somebody was asking which one of
got a question for you here.
Okay.
Was the Art Germ Power Princess cover an incentive cover?
There was an incentive one. There was a 1 for 200, which is the one that I was talking about that I had to get, which was the Virgin incentive. Fantastic. It's over here, sitting here near my desk. Could have sold that and made part of the money back, but I fell in love with it. But anyway, yeah, that one is incentive, but there was a regular one, non-incentive, with a trade dress that is nice. It's just a regular cover price. If you can find it for cover price, I think it's gone up to about $10 or $12 online, but you could probably still find it at an LCS somewhere. My favorite one of those was the Coelho gatefold cover. We sold a lot of those, and I think that some of the people bought them to take the comic book apart or to lay it flat, the gatefold out flat, to make it a poster. So, because it does look pretty sharp.
So Darth Bobcat says, if it's Squadron Supreme, where's the sour cream and tomatoes? I paid extra for the Supreme Squadron.
Guacamole too.
This is just the basic. This is just the Squadron basic. Come on.
Yeah, it's the Squadron Deluxe, not the Squadron Supreme. Yeah.
Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Does anyone else have anything to say about Heroes Reborn #1? Or should we move on? It's not as bad as I thought. It doesn't suck. And Perch says it sucks. I say it's
mediocre. It's mediocrity.
It's still mediocre. It's still a waste of Ed McGuinness.
It's not good. I mean, it's not Iron Man 2020 bad. It's not so there's that. It's not Ten of Swords, what the fuck's going on here bad. But
it's the Phoenix tournament.
It's not the Phoenix tournament, so I mean, I guess it's
X-Men
in the
dinner
top
party.
5% of Marvel's events. There you go. It's wonderful.
Can I ask one real quick question though about these Marvel events? I see all the artwork for the X-Men Hellfire Gala, whatever. Is this literally just a party they're going to?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
is there a story involved in here somewhere?
The party.
No.
There's
So-
going to
so
be
we've
some
gone
big
from-
reveals. There's 4 red band issues. We're going to have the new X-Men team. Sounds like Magneto's probably going to kill a human while this happens, and we know Doctor Doom and Apocalypse are going to arrive. But the setting is a dinner party, yes.
Okay, because X of Swords was already 2 issues of a dinner.
Yes,
true.
I know. They picked the 2 most tedious issues of that and decided, hey, let's do 12 this time.
Yeah.
The speculation has been that all these dignitaries or whatever arrive, and the Red Skull shows up as one of them for some ungodly reason, and Magneto murders him, and then he's put on trial.
The Red Skull.
Oh.
You mean Jordan Peterson's going to be there?
Yes.
Okay, Jordan Peterson is showing up. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
No,
basically, outside the building,
rumor. Yeah.
outside the building, there will be, the Hellfire Gala, big banner across there, and you'll see this close up of a shoulder, and in shadows, and it'll be the Red Skull approaching, but we won't know it yet. And as he walks up, there'll be a cat in the street, and he'll stop and he'll pet it,
Yes.
and then he'll go inside.
Something along those nations. It doesn't sound exciting. Let's move on to something that is exciting. We got to talk about Boom Studios. They are red hot right now. Apparently, they have 150,000 copies ordered for Something Is Killing the Children, number 16, which is going to be the origin story for, is her name Erica Slaughter? I believe that's her name. We've also got BRZRKR number 3 has 1 in 200, 1 in 250 foil variant covers coming out. And Cullen Bunn has a new series coming out called Basilisk, and it's the highest ordered comic book he's ever had. He's worked at Marvel and DC, and this comic book at Boom is the highest ordered one he's ever had. What are your thoughts about this, Doc?
Good for him.
Doc?
Oh, it's Doc.
Oh no, I'm here. I thought you were sorry. Hey, honestly, awesome. Look, somebody's got to actually start selling shit in this industry. And I don't care if it's Marvel, DC, Image, or Boom. Somebody's going to start selling shit, and it looks like Boom is actually going to do it. Now, I kind of laugh that Cullen Bunn's Basilisk coming out, especially considering that they're selling it as, hey, if you like something is killing the children and this Erica Slaughter character, here's a carbon copy of it. So
whatever works.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like kind of once again that whole, let's eliminate any uniqueness to our properties and hey, let's clone them again. But regardless, so no, I mean, good. That obviously tells me if they're selling this many issues of Something Is Killing the Children on issue 16, probably means that the trade sales are doing fairly well. The back issue market on it is all
back
right.
issues are insane. I think issue number 1 is already $1,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So the back issues are doing well. The trades are probably selling very, very well. And so this is proving the point that we've been trying to make for years now, that ongoing series that don't constantly reboot can build momentum over time. And that's what it's doing. It's building momentum over time, and you're getting higher sales. I mean, when the hell was the last time an issue 16 sold 155,000 copies of any book?
So, Fatal J, do you think that Boom Studios has passed up IDW as the number 4 publisher in comic books now, behind Marvel, DC, and Image? Are they the number 4 now?
I think so, and I just really love it when these indie companies blow up like this, because they coming out with a better product, in my opinion. Look how we have talked about Marvel and DC so far in this stream, and we don't like what's coming out. So good for Boom Studios.
Absolutely. So we do have a super chat from Kenneth Dowling. He wants to say $10. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I just now finished reading X-Men Legends #3. Wes, you and Doc mentioned Walter and Weezy Simonson before with X Stories, and now I see why. I wish these guys were doing X-Men on a regular basis. I agree with it, Doc. How about you?
Absolutely. I mean, X-Men Legends 3 was probably the most fun I've had on an X Factor book, even though it was titled X-Men, but like an X Factor book since Peter David left.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's a great run. I mean, it was a good comic, but the funny part is Legends #3 was average for them. I mean, it was great, but for them, it was average. You go back and you look at their trades, and you can find some of the trades of their run. I mean, Walter and Weezy did an amazing run. And if you've never read it before, like, find it, pick it up. You're going to have a ton of time just with great stories, because I liked Legends #3, but it was
on today's market, it stands out.
Oh yeah, in today's market, it's super good. But it was for their run. Sorry, Doc, go ahead.
Yeah, today's market, it stands out as standing head and shoulders over. But if you in 1987, if that book comes out, it's just par for the course.
Maybe an average issue of theirs, not the top of their run. I mean, some of the stuff they did with certainly Apocalypse and the Four Horsemen and the transformation of Angel and just a lot of that kind of stuff they did, just incredible. So X Factor, Louise Simonson, who's a freaking legend in the industry that doesn't get anywhere close to the amount of respect she deserves. But and then Walt Simonson just doing amazing work. Go check that out. There are trades you can go to if you don't want to spend full dollar. I know Half Price Books, for whatever reason, seems to always have a lot of these. Go forth. It's a great
outside of issues 5 and 6 of X Factor. Up until every single one is basically you could find it for under $2.
Yeah, it's
and they were solid. They were
amazing.
Just good, solid books.
And think about what this says. This statement that this was a mediocre book. How far the bar has dropped for comics today. That a mediocre '80s book is looked at and like, oh my God, this is great.
Well, average.
Yeah,
average '80s book.
Yeah, I mean,
it would be kind of an average, but yeah, I get your point.
Maybe higher. I mean, the Wheezy run of X Factor was very loved back then too. I mean, it was one of the top of the game. I mean, the X-Men were just at that point killing it across the board. Claremont with what he was doing with Uncanny, and then Wheezy on this. I mean, this was where they could really do no wrong. I mean, the stuff was just, it was selling like mad, and it was some great issues. And yeah, it was top stuff, so it was good.
We do have another super chat. This one is from Dark Admiral March Hare.
Mm-hmm.
I had my shop hold me a copy of the trade for Something Is Killing the Children because Wes keeps praising it. Better be good, LOL. You're gonna love it. That is an excellent story. If you like horror books, you like some gore, you like a cool mystery story that you get a very satisfying conclusion to, you're gonna love the trades for Something Is Killing the Children. Has anyone else been reading that one?
Yeah, it's head and shoulders above the other ongoing indie runs right now, in my opinion. There's like a strata of the horror comics that are out right now, and I'd put it like in the top 3. It's just really, really exceptional, and the artwork doesn't let it down. It's firing on all cylinders. There's always kind of like, you can kind of point out different things that are kind of let a comic book series down, and this one's avoided a lot of that shit. So it's excellent. It's fantastic, and if you aren't reading it, you probably should be.
And if you want to cosplay as Erica Slaughter, it's pretty ezy. You just got to get the mask with the demon mouth on.
There you go. Yeah.
Easy peasy.
One of the things we haven't talked about with Something Is Killing the Children is that, aside from this being the origin story, if you haven't been reading it, start now, go back and get the back issues, because there's a television show. There's a very good chance this could be the next Walking Dead.
The new Stranger Things.
Yeah, it's been picked up. They're looking into it. I imagine if it comes out, people are going to want to read it. It's got an intriguing title, and I think it lives up to the premise.
Yeah, it depends on who the producers. It depends on who picks it up and who really has a excitement for it, because if it gets the right producer and the right directing, then it could be pretty special.
Yep. So I hope you enjoy it, Dark Admiral Marche. I have a feeling that you will. We've also got Nolan Nerd in here. Who dat? I just bought an issue of the Women of X-Men with Claremont and Milo Manara. Can't wait to read that. What do you think about that, Doc? Was that a good choice?
Yes, the X-Women book that they did probably 10, 12 years ago. It was a solid, fun book. It was just a one-shot. Good pickup. I picked it up a couple of years ago myself because I had missed it when it came out. I got
Anybody else have anything? Anybody else have anything to say? Sounds like you had something, Perch. I'm sorry.
No, it's a nice. It's a good issue. I mean, it's not like the top of Claremont by any stretch of the imagination, but it's solid. It's a good little read. I did this video with Joe at some point. I don't know when it goes up, but we're like trying to wrap our heads around why, for people who are fans of the X-Men, particularly during the kind of the 15-year Claremont era in the 80s and kind of that sense, why is it that audience seems so at odds with the X-Men audience of today? Because they're very passionate X-Men fans who love everything that's going on. But as we pointed out, the sales of X-Men are far below where they used to be. The piracy of X-Men, on the other hand, there's millions of people that pirate those books. So it feels like the audience has transformed quite a bit. But if you've never read the 80s X-Men, there's just such amazing stuff in there. You go in there and get to that.
I think it's interesting that they changed the X-Men. They changed up their whole thing regarding how they do representation. And what they did was they swapped an audience that pays for a non-paying audience. And to me, that just it defines everything that's wrong with this current comics generation. But
they want representation, so they use the X-Men as a group to do it with. And I'm like, have you seen Giant Size X-Men #1?
Yeah. Yeah, this is the gold standard, people, and your stuff isn't selling. People are just stealing it.
And shout out to Chris Claremont, because I don't think people don't realize that's not a walk in the park to do a teen book and have it that impressive and have people that drawn into the book, man. That's a hard thing to do, to have all these characters and all of them have dope stories. That's a hard thing to do in comic books.
Well, remember, Chris would cycle characters in and out. He kept the overall cast relatively small, like 10 characters or less. For most of his run, he didn't. Remember, this is back in the day where there wasn't 37 X-Men books and there wasn't, 90 active X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
There was
there wasn't, but it's funny. I mean, Doc, you and I have the big collections. You remember all the jokes, particularly in the late '90s early '90s and late '80s, about look at Marvel greedily just printing all these X-Men books and look at all these team members. They did jokes about this stuff.
Oh God,
and
yeah,
it's hilarious now in retrospect.
Oh yeah, I mean, you got a dozen books going right now, and they don't think it's enough.
Nope.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
5 at one point.
Does anyone else have anything to say about Boom Studios and what's going on here? Perch, could you have predicted this?
Keep doing your thing, Boom.
I'm really glad they're doing well. I think we need some of that. I think somebody asked earlier, where are they sitting? Are they higher than IDW? I mean, financially, probably not, because IDW has the trades that they still have that cycle that they're doing, but they're going to pass them. I mean, easily at this point. I do think, for what it's worth, I think the numbers are getting thrown around for something that's killing the children. Some of these other books are inflated. I don't think we're getting completely accurate numbers, but that said, it clearly is a success. Regardless, it's doing well. The trades will do well. It'll catch up. Boom's setting themselves up for a nice 10-year run of a company, and that's awesome. I'm glad to see it.
They certainly built a blueprint. Bring Keanu Reeves in. Let him write the movie that he wants to star in. You can make a lot of money.
It's a battle for that fourth studio, right? Because, of course, Marvel, DC, Image. and then that fourth one, it's always been a battle.
Mm-hmm.
Dark
Well, it was kind of
Admiral,
Dark
like
Horse
Love
in
Cat.
IDW for a long time.
Oh, I forgot about Dark Horse. Dark Horse should be right next to Image too, right?
They lost a lot of their important
they lost the licenses. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Boom's going to go on an acquisition spree at some point. That's my belief. They're just going to start sucking up any properties that they think is
and that's going to be a problem because then they're going to just turn into IDW.
All right, Doc. We got a question for you. Simmer down. We got Kenneth Dowling, classic X-Men. You say, I got one for you. Uncanny X-Men 194, Nimrod versus Juggernaut, story, character, action, classic Claremont at its best.
He's not wrong. It's a great issue. I think that might have been one of the first, or that might have been right before the first appearance of Moira McTaggart. But yeah, it was, I mean, there wasn't even really any X-Men in this issue. It was Nimrod versus the Juggernaut.
Nah, she's way before this.
Yeah, Moira was.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, she was
before.
94.
Yeah.
She was 96. X-Men 96.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the hell? Oh, no. I was thinking, never mind. Yeah.
He had a brain fart. It's okay.
Yeah, I was 100 issues off only. No, but yeah, it was. I mean, there was almost no X-Men in this book, and yet it was still awesome, and everybody loved it. Like nobody cared that like the X-Men barely even show up in this book.
Yeah.
Because Claremont had the ability to draw his characters. Like Nimrod had been around for a few dozen issues by this point, I think, and
slow burn though.
Yeah, he was only introduced, and then he'd get a couple of panels here, a couple of panels there, and but then he started exploring the Nimrod character because he wanted to make him not just a generic Sentinel from the future. He wanted to explore like him growing as an AI. And in this wholly different world than what he had been created in, and back in our present time. And he did a great job of it. And then you had this conflict with him and the Juggernaut, with almost no X-Men in it, and everybody was like, "This is awesome! I want to keep reading more."
So thank you very much. Great comic book that you pointed out there, Kenneth Dowling. Really appreciate that. Does anyone have anything else left to say about Boom Studios being red hot right now and all the wonderful numbers they're putting up? Nope. Let's go to Green Lantern number 2. There was a lot of revelations. Me personally, this is the best Green Lantern comic issue I've read in probably 30 months. Certainly since the tail end of Robert Medity's Al Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps. The first issue was a lot of exposition. I know Perch and I kind of disagreed about that. I thought it was a lot to take in. This issue, we get more exposition, but they finally start fleshing out some things regarding the Guardians of the Oa, the structure of the omniverse, the importance of the human lanterns, and why there are so many of them. And I think, for the most part, Geoffrey Thorne knocked this one out of the park. I know, Pele, you disagree. You said you weren't able to make it through?
It was fine. I'm kind of in retrospect, it was fine. A little, I don't know. I kind of got taken out of it. It seemed like a little bit like the info dump type of situations, but I don't know. I didn't finish it. I need to go back and finish it. So I've obviously have missed something.
It's the second half of it is where a lot of this stuff comes out. I know, Perch, you were enjoying that, right?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought I'd agree, and I liked it. I mean, there's a couple things they did really well in this book. I mean, and it proves that the writer, just all I ask for, whatever else you do, just like read the back issues and try and come with something. And so he explained the nature of the Guardians in a really good way. It wasn't a retcon; it was additive. He explained, like, the biggest piece is he's explaining why there aren't Green Lanterns in Legion of Superheroes time, which is like something that nobody's really tackled for close to 50 years now, and it makes sense what he's laying out. And then for all the people who really complained about the Teen Lantern on cover, the first issue cover, and everything else, and Thorne was like, I didn't pick that cover, and you should read the book because I'm going to treat that character properly. In the second issue, we get a just smart scene of basically the Lantern's going, hey, you're a kid, get out of here, you can't fight this, you don't know what you're doing, and they treat her like a kid because she's a kid. Like it's like the writing makes sense, and so I very much enjoyed it. The blowing up the battery, as Trey's pointing out, it's been done before. That's true, but I do feel like it's being handled much better than in the past, and so I'm anxious to see where he goes. I just want more than 6 issues out of this guy's run. So
did Thorne kill Kyle Rayner? That's what Lane Kramer wants to know.
No.
What? Oh, okay.
Don't
kill Kyle Rayner.
He's killed. I mean, do we want to do spoilers? He's killed some people.
It's certainly implied that one of the Lanterns is no longer with us at the end.
Yes,
and we've lost a Guardian of Oa so far. And there's some other Lanterns that other Lanterns side, but we don't know who they were.
Yes, definitely some non-human Lanterns, and Thorne has said in the streams that there's going to be a lot of non-human Lanterns that are murdered in this. So. But part of what he's trying to do is like, hey, I'm just going to try and narrow it on down. So
well, we always knew that that Oa was going to lose its authority on Earth at some point because of the United Planets. I mean, something happens between now and Legion of Superheroes, but there were still Green Lanterns in the Legion time. There was Ron Vidar, who he even mentioned how hey, Green Lanterns aren't legally allowed on Earth, but the Guardians are still watching it. I just didn't think that the whole United Planets setup and rule was going to happen in modern day. I thought it was going to happen between the next 1,000 years in that dark ages of comics.
Somewhere along the way, Superboy gets a Green Lantern ring. So in the Legion run,
it's I think that. To me, I see that he's picking up a lot of things either from history or, frankly, from the Bendis run that was poorly thought out, and he's trying to make decent stuff with it. I like this United Planets link, which is a very half-baked idea that Bendis had. It feels like Thorne's trying to pick that up and actually make that something good. So I'm a fan. I think it's good.
Oh wait, shocking! Somebody else picks up a half-baked Bendis idea. Don't we remember Layla Miller?
Sure.
And her knowing stuff.
Yeah,
it took Peter David to actually explain that one.
Yeah,
I gotta ask you, Perch. This new character that we made that's so important that we've never met her before, but she's doing all this stuff. That's got to be the bad guy, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's got to be. Well,
yeah, there are some very dark twists coming, but I mean, again, the part that worried me, Jeff's been on a few times, and he's got a good comic knowledge and everything else. But the part that worries me is he said he's not locked up for any kind of long contract. And so, I just think that's insane. You have somebody coming in here and architecting some
these huge changes and giving structure to the omniverse that other people are going to have to play in.
That's crazy to me. I mean, you're doing this kind of stuff. Jesus, so you don't have this guy locked up for a year? I mean, that's crazy.
And there was a question: are Doc and Breen from the same hometown? Doc is from Pittsburgh, I believe. Breen is from Ohio somewhere.
Yeah, I think he's from Cincinnati.
Close.
Yeah. I mean, not really. I mean, it's like a couple 100 miles away.
Neighboring cities, neighboring cities,
neighboring states.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I meant. Neighboring states.
Yeah,
the twin cities of Cincinnati and Pittsburgh.
Well, we did have twin stadiums way back in the day. Whenever the old Cincinnati Municipal Stadium and Three River Stadium, they were literally the exact same stadium. They were built by the same architect.
There you go. All right, so that's the Green Lanterns number 2. Does anyone else have something to say about the Green Lanterns before we get to the final topic?
Do I need to read it?
Yeah.
If
you like Green Lantern, you should read it.
Yeah, I'm a Green Lantern fan.
I'm gonna read it. I like I said, I don't think I gave it a solid chance. I just kind of I didn't finish it. I need to go back and start over again.
Like DC's cosmic stuff, you like New Gods, you like that stuff in the past, I think you'll enjoy it more. I think if you've never read any of that, some of it feels worthless, but I think it's a good read. I mean, it's one of the better books DC's putting out by a mile right now.
Yes, I agree with that. So let's get into MCU Phase 4. There's a lot of announcements. We've got the new Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. There's no longer a Captain Marvel 2. It's the Marvels. What else we get in there? There's no Blade. Where the hell is that movie? Then we got the Guardians of the Galaxy chapter. Is it Volume 3 or Chapter 3? It's one or the other.
Volume 3.
All right, Fatal J. I brought you in here for this this very segment. You are the
Yes,
comic
sir.
book movie guy. Which one of these are you most excited for? What did we learn here?
I'm excited for none of them. I'm just being honest. I don't care about the Marvels. Blade should have had Wesley Snipes from the beginning. That's probably why they haven't mentioned it. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, that could be fun. That might be good. Is Thor going to be in that one? Because remember
Thor
at the
Love
end,
and Thunder, yes.
no, Thor Love and Thunder is going to be about the girl, Jane.
Yes.
Because Thor is
You're right.
supposedly going to be in it a little bit. That's at least that's what we were told a while back.
Okay, so Thor's supposed to be in Guardians.
For a bit.
Because remember at the end of what was the end game? He was in the ship with them.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not really excited. I mean, it just the MCU doesn't have that same oomph it did when Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans was heavy into the movies. It's just it just don't feel the same. It don't have that excitement to me anymore. But I'll check it out. You know, I know Black Widow. Go ahead, my friend.
The story that everything was building to is over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they never really see, the problem was they never really set up any real B plots that would take over and become like germinate into A plots.
And they had a chance. And by God, they had a chance, but they didn't do it.
But they never did. In any of the other movies, they never really set up any B plots that could turn into A plots down the line. So it's essentially like a mini series. Once it's over, you're starting over again. You're basically, this is kind of Marvel. It's new number one.
The
It's a new number one.
The only movie coming up that feels like it's a continuation, that it's something that's going to build on what came before and be something exceptional is possibly Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. That's the only movie I'm really looking forward to. And
Not Spider-Man Coming Home?
No.
No, because Tom Hardy, he's
Tom Holland.
I'd love to see Tom Hardy in that role. That'd be hilarious.
Tom Hardy as Spider-Man.
What's his name? Tom Holland. He's
Yeah,
That would be an
Spider-Man.
intense Spider-Man. I'm like,
And then he breaks Batman's back.
yeah.
So we
But
do
Tom
have a
Holland
super
don't
chat from Comic Works with Jimmy. Very nice to see everyone on the panel contributing. Even Doc, although Fatal J was sleeping when he left that. Yes, Fatal J was taking a nap.
No,
We've got
I
another
wasn't
super
sleeping.
chat.
Hey, Jimmy's got a great channel, by the way, and I
Absolutely.
apologize to you,
Yeah.
Jimmy. Wish I could have joined you this week, but it's you've got a great channel. You're doing great stuff.
Same here. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I had stuff to do, but I wish I was there.
Yeah, you got to go check out his comic book Jeopardy, and he's got some good content this week. And he was on my channel. If you want to go check out that video, if you haven't. So thanks
was
a
a
lot,
good video.
Jimmy. We've got Dark Admiral Mark Chair. Absolutely no interest or hope for the MCU going forward. My normie brother went to see Endgame with me and walked out and said, "Okay, I'm done." Do you think that's going to be a normal kind of thing that people are going to say, RJ?
I think so. I mean, you had this 5-year time jump, and these things just don't. You lose continuity of the flow of things when you take a time jump like that, and people are already like picking apart the whole. Wait a second, so we had no Spider-Man for 5 years, and then the people come back and Spider-Man's back, but you've got these kids who are having to go through high school still when they should have been pumping gas or filing accounting papers or whatever. It's a mess now. The whole Endgame thing was a mess. They should have.
RJ, you nailed it though. They could have when everybody in the world came back from the blip. The blip should have been a big thing. Like, how do people come back from that? Like with the economy and jobs and
You got to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I watched that and they ignored the blip.
That's the whole.
That was
point
the
of
whole premise.
That's the whole premise of the story.
They didn't go deep into the blip. They was look when you look. They should have been watching TV. How are we going to get jobs? Think about it. People wasn't
literally.
But watch this, Doc. Watch this. People was not in their houses for 5 years. People was not. wouldn't somebody
That's why
sell their
the
house?
controversy, because they're like, you're going to make us leave these houses. They're like, yes, the people came back, and that's why they were mad.
That's what that redheaded chick was basically pushing for the whole time. The one that was not
what about
sin,
my job?
that should have been sin.
You're going to give my job back to this guy.
When you look at the Winter Soldier, whatever series world, okay, they dwelled on that on one episode and moved on like everything was running fine. That should be a big thing when it comes to the MCU now. Is just the blip. How's we getting the world back together again?
How's that exciting?
Perch, I got to ask you. You're going to be the other voice. Did they pass over the blip, or was that the driving force of the show in the narrative?
That was not the driving force of the show. I promise
it's not up to you. It's up to Perch now.
Oh.
in Falcon Winter Soldier?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think it was it was definitely the driving force of the show.
Yes.
Yeah. That was the whole premise behind why the Flag Smashers were doing their thing, why Falcon couldn't get a loan, why all these different pieces. It was maybe I don't know about driving force. It was one of the heavy subplots. It was one of the heavy momentums. It wasn't everything, but it was a lot.
I wanted to see fights in the streets about people fighting over houses and jobs and stuff.
Flag Smashers were fighting people in the streets in episode 1.
What show did you watch? That was just one freaking group.
Wait a minute. Jay, is your point that's stupid or it didn't happen? Because if it's stupid, I'm with you, but it definitely happened.
Lord, I'm having cognitive dissonance over this.
Watch this.
I'm like, did I actually see this? What's going on?
Watch this. I seen the show, and the show is not good.
Okay.
If we're going to do that group, let the whole half of the world be that group, and not just a small bunch of people trying to cause chaos.
Sure. Okay. So your point here, which I agree with, is it's stupid.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
Why would it just be a small group? It seemed like the whole.
I don't think they explained it well. But
you could have did the blips, like half of the world versus the people. Because wouldn't it be more chaotic if people just popped up out of nowhere after 5 years?
They showed that.
They did show some of that. I would have loved to, like, why didn't we get to see a scene where somebody popped up out of nowhere, like right into incoming traffic?
That's what I was going to say, damn it.
You know, what about the people who were, like, in a plane? What happened to them?
And then they just fell out of the sky.
Yeah, there have been a lot of that. But I think that some of that was explained that, you know, there was an intelligence that was behind that when they snapped back that those people were not going to be falling out of the sky, that there was an intelligence behind that
I don't know,
those people were going to be safely put somewhere, you know, that they wouldn't just die instantly.
Well, all right, guys. Hold on.
Remember the marching band showed up right in the middle of the.
Tony Stark's a dick. That's what it proves. He brought them all back with some intelligence, but apparently not enough to give them loans and money. I mean, what a jerk.
Yeah.
Everybody in the chat talking about the blip was not talked about that much.
It was in every episode. Fatal J, you'll never hear this again. Dark Apple March Hair with super chat. Fatal J is right.
Oh yeah, I don't like him as Spider-Man. I never did.
That's painful to read, but thank you so much for supporting the channel. We've also got Kenneth Dowling. I know you guys aren't excited for Eternals, but the filmmaker recently won Best Director and Best Picture at the Oscars. Does that change your minds? Absolutely not.
No.
Nope.
No, I'm not laughing at you, Kenneth Dowling. I'm not laughing. I think the Oscars are so unimportant.
Exactly. Nobody gives a shit about the Oscars. It matters about as
maybe Kenneth Dowling does.
Well, 11 million people watched or something like that.
Not even that.
9. That was it. 9.
If everybody who watched the Oscars buys a ticket for the Eternals, does that make it a blockbuster?
No, it makes it about $90 million.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Well, Angelina Jolie is in it, so that got to count for something.
If just the Oscar audience buys it, it loses $200 million.
China. How many people in China watch the Oscars? It could be a huge number.
I'm guessing nobody.
Nobody.
They don't speak English, and they don't have the. They don't do.
Jeez, Doc, you are making yourself look a fool right now.
They don't overdub the damn Oscars. They'll do it for movies.
A lot of people speak English around the world, Doc.
I understand this, but not enough to matter.
I think Disney and everyone else.
You think that China's going to show that woke shit on TV?
I have no idea, but thank you very much, Kenneth Dowling. No one cares. We don't care about the Oscars. That means nothing. Did they make a cool action flick? Then I'm interested.
If you win an Oscar, then your price tag and what you can demand in Hollywood does go up. That's true.
That's it.
As for your job. Now, in terms of that translating into movies, I think we've seen that the Oscar award-winning, director, that kind of stuff, it doesn't necessarily translate to box office. It hasn't for a while. But, you get more money, so good for her, I guess.
So, Comic Quirks with Jimmy. I'm sorry, Jay, but you have to like Falcon and Winter Soldier for obvious reasons. Please don't make me say it.
I have no clue what you're talking about, sir.
He's talking about this, sir.
He's talking about Baron Zemo dancing.
I don't care about Captain America being black. I don't care about
You're
that.
not supposed to say that.
And Zemo, what the freak was that? Zemo was supposed to be the big bad baddie, and he in there dancing in the club?
Yeah.
What?
Thank you for all those gifts. Yeah.
Those
World beaters like to get down.
are
I know
winning memes, sir.
He up in the club doing one of these. I'm like, what?
My
Zemo is supposed to...
Back in the
Padawan.
yeah.
He looked like he was
Shout out
doing
to
the
my-
Carlton.
Shout out to my Padawan Maverick. He's one of my employees. He's a black man, and he's awesome dude. And he was incensed over the whole thing. That it was just pandering woke trash.
And the thing though, if you ask black comic book readers, people that's really into the comic culture, they don't care or they don't like it.
Yeah,
That's not true. I had Skip and Tosh. We reviewed the episode on my channel. I know that he reads comic
So
books.
he liked that?
He loved it. Go watch the review.
Did he like the show?
I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about the speech at the end.
He liked the speech. We had a disagreement during the review.
Well, Skip and Tosh, he's kind of, he's not the marble. No, I'm just playing, Skip. You cool people. I love you, man.
Skip's amazing. We got another super chat. This one's from Kenneth Dowling. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Beto J, both WandaVision and Falcon Winter Soldier touched on the blip. Mikey talked about it in his e-article. I'm interested in Shang-Chi. The Blade script is being worked for 2023. I think Spidey 3 will surprise you.
Kenneth Dowling.
That, Fatal J. Thank you,
No,
Kenneth
watch this.
Dowling.
I just want to say this, and then I'm done. Kenneth, you said it right.
Done before you started.
They touched on it. They didn't delve into what's really going on with the problems. People can't find jobs. People want to kill other people
There was an
because
entire
they lost
school
their...
of people hiding out from the government, trying to live off the land because of the blip. What are you talking about?
Let me
There was a big
let me
fight
ask
there.
you something.
I
Let me
think
ask
that
you something.
RJ's wondering at this point why is he here and what has he gotten himself into? Because
Well, I
you
just
two are
want to ask this
are just
question, then I'm
whining and
done.
crying at each other.
I just
You
want to ask.
accepted the
Let's
invitation.
be realistic right here. If a blip happened, if Thanos came to planet Earth and snapped his fingers, and half of the people left, what would happen to the economy and what would happen to everybody's lifestyles? What would happen?
Everything
They
got
skipped
thrown
over
into
that part of the
chaos.
movie.
It would be total chaos. Then
Yeah.
you finally get life back together in 5
Or would
years
become
and bam.
fat. Because everyone's
look.
depressed.
But look, after those 5 years, it'll take about 5 years for the economy and everything to get back together. Then bam, everybody
I know.
comes back. And
They
it's going to be
covered-
what? It's going to be a chaos again.
Yes, they did. That's why they had the global repatriation council thing. That was literally their job
You
Yes.
had 10
to
people.
reorganize it.
Oh my God.
You had 10 people with
You had
masks
10
out there fighting because
Yeah,
of the
Jay,
blip.
just admit you
More
didn't
than
watch
that.
this yet.
In the first episode, they showed that they were bringing. You had 10 people who had the super soldier serum. You had a lot more people who had joined that movement. That was part
They
of
were-
what they
Yeah,
why the military.
Anarchy on the
involved.
streets when he's
yeah, the
filming it.
phone app.
Yeah, they got the phone app out there. They got it through Apple's review process. You could download it on iTunes, and then you could go smash some shit up. It's
They
great.
dropped, in my opinion, I think they dropped the ball. That could have been the next stage with Marvel, with the blip. The blip could have been like a big
The antagonist instead of Dr. Doom?
saga.
I don't think they really want to
No,
go into it
just-
that much. I mean, it sounds interesting to kind of debate, but you don't want a series of like, hey, what happened to the woman who
Let's
was
get the
pregnant?
economy right, fellas.
Yeah,
What are we
like,
going to do
let's-
about the harvest?
Phase 4 of the economy, and no one wants to watch that.
Are we going to ration foods?
Like
There's
you
not
could have had
enough
a
gas.
woman with a baby, and her baby got blipped out of her stomach, and you could have just went so many ways with the blip. But now it's just
it's more interesting the other way. But nobody wants to watch this. They're like,
they didn't end Endgame the right way anyway. I mean, you know, if they'd have done Endgame right at the end of it, the person who would have put the glove on would not have been Tony Stark. I'm sorry. He's smart as Tony is. He's human.
Yeah.
They had the character in place for the entire MCU to do this by
Thor.
showing that Stan Lee was a Watcher level character.
Yes, or Rocket Raccoon. You could have had to do it.
That would have been fun. Stan Lee should have revealed himself, if he'd lived, as the one above all, and put everything back, and been the de facto creator of the Marvel's universe in film. I think it would have been a nice tribute, and it would have been a little Deus Ex Machina. But you could say, no, look, we've been building up that he's been watching and preparing for this the whole time because he's watching over the Marvel universe.
Hey, Jay, by the way, if you ever want to just watch and find out what happened in those 5 years, just go watch HBO's The Leftovers.
That's a good. They should have did that. That's what
It
I
already
was thinking.
exists. We didn't need that story again. That's the point.
You could have started. Look at the way Marvel is going now. It's so mediocre. You could have used the leftover type stories in the Marvel universe and did something way bigger to lead up to another big bad Betty. In my opinion, it's just my opinion.
There's way too many traps in this. You couldn't do a series based on this because there's too many weird questions that come up that conflict with the quippy kind of light Marvel universe. Like, hey, what about the pilots that got blipped out and the plane crashed into a mountain? What about no matter how way you cut it, there's too much murder involved in all this that just it wouldn't work. So you got to just move on and you do what you do. The sad part for me is that the freaking Marvel Universe and Disney, the MCU and Disney Plus, for whatever, they managed to make the Sam Wilson taking on the Captain America mantle more intelligent than the comics did, which is a pathetic thing to me.
There you go. On that note,
it still doesn't make sense.
Come on, Doc. Say it. Go on, Doc.
I'm done.
Okay, you Iron $2 super chat. Did half the animals snap? Plants O2 levels?
Sure.
What happened,
Yes.
Jay?
It all happened. Everything.
We lost the animals.
We lost everything.
They did say half of all life.
Half of sentient life.
And then you could have did a thing where the other people didn't get blipped? It just could have been a big epic saga. But
No,
they
it
just
couldn't have been. It would have been boring tripe.
Exactly.
I don't think so.
Go watch The Leftovers again, man. It's the exact same story.
All right. Thank you, Iron, for supporting the channel. I think we've had enough of this. It's time to get our comic book recommendations. It's still on a ticker. Oh my goodness, I didn't replace it. Let's talk about what we're recommending this week. RJ, this is your first time on the channel. I apologize. Things go off the rails from time to time. What are you recommending as far as comic books this week?
I usually am the one who pushes things off the rail, Wes. So that's where I live. Gosh, there's been so little that I really want to read in comics that are being published mainstream.
They don't have to be new. They can be your own. They can be old. What do you read? There you go.
A band of punk rock rabbits that make a deal with the devil at the crossroads to get their van fixed. And he challenges them to a music contest to see who can play better. They beat him, and so he curses them to constantly encounter the supernatural until they play a song better than the one that beat him. So now they go to gig after gig like the Scoobies and start seeing gremlins and banshees, and they have to fix these problems.
Isn't this the plot of the greatest song in the world by Jack Black? What the hell's Jack Black's band name?
Oh, Tenacious D.
Yeah, Tenacious D. That's all.
I thought you were talking about Charlie Daniels. The Devil Went Down to Georgia.
That too. That's where it came from.
I kind of love it.
Robert Johnson at the Crossroads. It's an old trope.
Sounds like fun. Where can people get that comic? Is it available in their comic shop? They need to go online.
They need to go online. They need to go to Indiegogo and Kickstarter and find that. That was from Kurt Spurgeon and Gregory Shane. these guys have got a lot of fun perks that come with it. It's a good book. They've got big plans for it. Both these guys have experience in animation. Kurt Spurging has had experience with Cartoon Network. So they're looking at making this a bigger property than just a comic book.
Awesome. Hopefully that works out. Thank you for the recommendation. We do have a super chat from Kenneth Dowling. This is what I live for, Fatal J. Sorry, Fatal J. That's how you start a good super chat. But I love the speech from Falcon Winter Soldier, and Skip is my boy. I love the end game ending as it is. Great panel as always. Watching Critical Comic Aficionados every Saturday. Rip Tony Stark. Eat that, Fatal J.
Hey, man, Kenneth is the man. What can I say?
He agreed with you once, but then he finally came back to his senses. Nah, Fatal J got it.
I respect Kenneth Dowling. Thank you so much, my friend.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. We've got Nolan Nerd, Tenacious D. David Grohl plays the devil in the video. That's true.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that.
That is a funny video. Thank you so much. Who dat, Nolan Nerd? Glad you could make it from New Orleans. All right, who's next? Fatal J, what are you recommending this week?
Oh, man, I'm reading Big Guy and Rusty. Have y'all read that?
Many years ago.
Oh, man, y'all need to open that up again. That is the most detailed, dope-looking comic I've read in a long time, man, and I'm getting a kick out of that. I got a trade paperback of the X-Men Executioner song. I'm loving that right now. Brandon Peterson, he did his thing. Jay Lee is one of the most underrated comic book artists known to man, and nobody has his style. I love Jay Lee. And something else I'm reading. What else am I reading? I guess that's it.
All right, there you go. Thank you so much for
I need to read Berserk too. Part 2, issue 2. Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's pretty dope that he's a caveman, and I'm done.
Doc Scott. Come on, Doc. You're trying to get me in trouble here. This is what Doc's reading.
That's what I'm recommending this week. ASM, 601, 606, and 607.
There you go. Don't forget 608, the one that got him in trouble.
No, that was 601.
Oh, I got it wrong. Well, there you go. Definitely read those. Is that your recommendations for the week, Doc?
That, as well as I'm still going to recommend, even though it came out 2 weeks ago, X-Men Legends #3. And I'm going to definitely recommend Hellions this week. It was a great issue. If you have been reading it, pick it up. If you haven't, jump on. Honestly, it's the best X series.
Yep. There will be a review on the channel tomorrow with Doc talking about Hellions #11. If that is your thing. All right, who else we got? Pele, what are you recommending down at the store this week?
Okay, Swamp Thing #3 is my weekly recommendation. ASM was good this week. It's still one of the better, one of the better recent Spidey runs. Lately, I've enjoyed the last several issues. I'm going to make a pick for Speculation, Eve #1 from Boom. I mean, just it's good, and it looks like something that they would probably try to make into a TV show at some point. So you've got the vulgar teddy bear and everything like that. So it's definitely got some appeal from several audiences. So
I got a question for you, Pele.
Mm-hmm.
Did you back Black Ops X Common America yet?
Yeah.
We got Tim Lemon in the comments. Obviously, that's his book. Huge success over there on Kickstarter. If you don't like Kickstarter, you can wait and get the Indiegogo, which will be up in a couple months.
Oh, I love Black Ops.
Did you get the plush? What you get?
My wife always goes plush. Yeah, she whenever she sees there's a new project that they're doing over there, she's always like, what do we have to get? What do we have to order to get the plushie? So yeah. That just goes without saying.
Very nice. So if you haven't checked out Tim Lim's latest campaign, definitely go to Kickstarter. We've got Old School Comics with a super chat. Marvel Fanfare 18 arrived in my mail today, so I'm reading that after this. Batman Superman 16 and 17 is a good story with interesting panel layouts.
Marvel Fanfare 18, that's a great choice, and you're going to love that. I mean, so cheap considering you've got Roger Stern, Frank Miller, one of the best Captain America stories ever. So. Love it.
Good pickup, old school comics. You were going to enjoy that one. Good on you. All right, Perch, you haven't said anything, have you? What do you recommend?
I've already gone. Yeah, no. Look, a couple things. I think Erratic is a week old, but definitely that wrapped up. If you haven't gone into that series, grab that. Our buddy Joe Corrala's Beck Star came out this week. It had featured no eating. It featured no romance, no fashion galas, just drinking and murder, and that's good stuff. So I think it's definitely a European style art, so that's not going to be for everybody, but story is quite solid. So I recommend that. And if you want a good deal at the moment and you don't have it, the Legion of Superheroes 5 years later hardcover is, for whatever reason, it's like 70% off at Amazon. And that's an insane deal. So if you don't have those comics and you want a good omnibus, that is a great deal.
You Iron says that you read My Little Pony Transformers?
I did, yes. With my daughter, we read to my daughter. She did a review of it. She liked the Transformers better than the ponies.
Well, that's disappointing.
That might be good, man. I've been looking at the artists that do those books, those little ponies. There's some pretty good art in there.
She did not understand why the cars were putting up with these tiny ponies, and she just did not absorb that.
Did you go to BronyCon, Jay?
No, but I want to.
There you go. Thank you very much, you Iron. As far as recommendations, as far as recommendations go, I'm recommending Hellions and Green Lantern are the two comics that were new this week that I would definitely recommend. We are going to be doing a retrospective on Spider-Man 88 through 90 and Spider-Man 121 through 122. The Death of the Stacys here on the channel, so I'll be reading those and definitely recommend them. If you want to be ready for the retrospective, which should be up in about 2 weeks or maybe 10 days, I'm not sure. Definitely get read up on that, and I think you'll enjoy it. Thank you very much.
That's Gwen Stacy
and her father.
Yeah, I'm a Spider-Gwen fan.
Yeah, but she's died already before.
Yeah.
Spider-Gwen is from a different multiverse or something.
Oh, before you end the show, I have a big statement to make. Funko Pops are ugly and they have the same face. Why are people still buying those?
There you go. Thank you very much, everybody. We had a great time. Thank you to RJ. I hope you enjoyed your time on the channel today. We're out of here. Fatal J will be back, but I ain't going to be happy.
Wash your
soon.
ass.